call this Bang Bang. Seriously? I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. I will fuck you up. Pull up, bitch. I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. I will fuck you up.
Objection. Objection.
I will fuck you up. KO. Bang bang. I will fuck you up. You're a bitch, bro. I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. I will fuck you up. Right?
Yeah.
The bang bang, the bang bang, pull up. The bang bang, the bang bang, pull up. Right?
Yeah.
The bang bang, the bang bang, pull up. The bang bang, the bang bang.
Witness, please.
Yes, Your Honor, the Commonwealth call Trooper Michael Proctor to the stand. Please state your name and spell your last name for the jury.
Michael Proctor, Proctor.
You're a bitch, bro. I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. I will fuck you up.
I'm going to allow it.
I will fuck you up. I will beat your ass. I will fuck you up.
I'm going to allow it.
My name is Aidan Kearney, also known as Turtle Boy.
He is a senior editor for Turtle Boy Daily News.
I'm a big fan.
We've broken hundreds of stories that the mainstream media won't touch.
Some blogger in Massachusetts who's getting to the bottom of this better than anybody.
Why is it Turtle Boy that is covering such important issues? Where is the rest of the media?
You did not say that you were gonna take my baby out of revenge and make him a transgender baby.
Stop it.
Don't you want to ask some questions? I know you do.
I do. I
know
you.
People don't like the things that I say and want me to stop saying them, but I won't. I'm never gonna stop. These are the kind of stories that must be told.
And I will not be intimidated. I will not be silenced. And we will continue on our journey for justice for John O'Keefe and for Karen Reed.
Tick, tick, boom. Boys, go baby, we bringing our toys. Boys, chopper be singing, should be on the voice. Bang, bang, we gon' ride out. Gang, gang, we don't die out. Want it like this, ain't no timeouts. Tell me who really gon' find out.
We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets.
Karen Reed has supporters who've shown up in large numbers.
Tick, tick, boom.
Hard body, and not scaring nobody. You make me resort to wildin'. You must be blind by the diamonds. I didn't want it to be this way, but y'all won't need to try this. So it's no way around it. You the loudest one, it's going quiet. We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep.
This is the first time I think I've ever seen this. An outpouring of support for someone accused of murdering a Boston police officer. Unbelievable situation. Never seen anything like it.
Tick, tick, boom.
You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me? You can't stop me, so who gon' stop me?
We be disturbing the peace. Working, we serving the streets. About to go ahead, going beast. Bang, bang, leave you sleep. It's go, 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 go.
tick, boom.
Boom. What's up, turtle people? How's everyone out there doing tonight? Good, good, excellent. Welcome to the live show, ladies and gentlemen. I am your fearless host. My name is Aidan Kearney. You can call me a variety of names. You can call me, let's see, you used to be able to call me Clarence Woods Emerson. You can't do that anymore because they took away my Facebook page, and I'm working on creating a new one. They don't let me make new ones. Every time I make a new one, it gets shut down. But I got one of my pages back. I have like a real Facebook page that I don't use for anything Turtle Boy related. It's just my name, Aidan Kearney. It's got like a picture of me and my kids on there. It's where I share, like, you know, so I'm not accepting your friend requests on there. Sorry. It's like, I'm not turning, like, I like to have some sort of separate life from Turtle Boy a little bit. So I'm not turning that into like a Turtle Boy account. But that's the only one they gave back to me. I've lost the Clarence Woods Emerson account and the other Aidan Kearney account, which was like the one I made on the day that I got arrested. And sorry, we're already having issues here. I got to change this. Okay, not too much, way too much. Come on, okay. That's okay. I think it's all right. That works. Oh yeah. So yeah, they took away everything. They didn't say why. It's just a purge. This shit happens a lot on Facebook. I've had anyone who's been following me, and I love like fucking COVID. Can I just share Coffindaffer's tweet? And we're adding this to the defamation pile because surprise, Coffindaffer. Hope you know this. Like, you're on the list. You made the top 5, and you're an easy one. We're gonna get you. Trust me. So this is Coffindaffer. It's gonna be a pleasure suing this cunt. She's like, suspended from Facebook. They don't want to be liable for disseminating his tripe. No, cunt. First of all, the Turtle Boy page is still up. So and I've been doing this for 11 years. Facebook is not liable for anybody on their platform. Like if you share something on there, that's not Facebook's problem. They don't get sued for that. That's not how it works. It's called Section 230. Right? The CDA, Communications Decency Act, Section 230. Platforms are not responsible for what other people post on them. So it has nothing to do with me, with them not wanting to be, held liable. Like, it was taken down because I got mass reported. That's it. Trolls just mass report it. It gets taken down. That's all it takes sometimes. So it has nothing to do with that. And if you're new here, it happens all the time. Suspended from Facebook. Yeah, like, welcome to my life. I get suspended from Facebook all the time because I have a shitload of people who are enemies, who are fucking crazy, who have nothing but time on their hands, but to sit there and mass report it. Like, I have the most insane people are obsessed with me. I create this level of obsession with people that doesn't exist. Like, Donald Trump wishes that he could upset people the way that I do. Nobody can do what I do. Alex Jones can't do what I do, right? Nobody has this amount of dedication from people who just are mentally ill and desperately want to stop me. But guess what? Yeah, you remember the Sunshine page. Like, I used to have to make so many pages, like the Turtle Boy. There was the Lost Boys of Turtle. It started off with Turtle Boy Sports. Then there was the Lost Boys of Turtle. Then there was Turtle Boy Refugees. And there was Turtle Boy Safe Space. There was the Turtle Boy Smiles and Sunshine page. I would just make a new name every time, and it would just get shut down. I've had a million pages get shut down. I'm still here, in case you haven't noticed. If you think a little social media censorship and manipulation is going to get me shut down, you're desperately mistaken. If I've lost the Clarence Woods Emerson page, that sucks. It's a temporary setback. That means I've lost all the messages in there. That's honestly the biggest thing I've lost is the messages, because there's a lot of messages in there. I like to, when I'm researching a story, sometimes I'll just type it into the search engine of my messages, and I'll be like, oh, somebody messaged me about this fucking 4 years ago, or like something like that. So it's kind of a cool little thing to have. And it's gone now, but you know what? Whatever. I'll just build a new one, So I'll be back. But anyway, so you can't call me Clarence Woods Emerson. You can call me Aidan Kearney. You can call me Uncle Turtle Boy. That actually used to be my Twitter handle before it was taken down. That's what old school turtle writers call me. I prefer Doctor. That's my new Twitter handle. because if Jim Crosby gets to be a doctor in this trial, then so do I. I'm also a doctor. You can call me Daddy if you'd like. It's not mandated, but that's what Brian Tully calls me, or at least I made him call me that. You know, I guess I'll take it. It could be a little weird for some people, but I'll also allow it. It can be a little fun for some people too, right? You could call me Journalism Jesus if you'd like. If that doesn't offend you, you can call me A. Timothy Kearney. That's my true crime name. All right. I got all types of names. Whatever you call me, just be here every Tuesday and Saturday night normally at 9 o'clock, and make sure you smash that subscribe button. How many subscribers are we up to now? We are now up to, it's going to start growing now. That's what she said, but 108,697. We can get this to 109,000 by tomorrow, 110,000 by the weekend. No problemo. It's going to, it's going to go way up. People, Renee asks a good question. Where can you send me tips now? Because Facebook was the primary place I did that before. My email is turtleboysports@gmail.com. I am on Twitter, but I don't really like DMs on Twitter that much because you can't like download. If you send me a video, I can't download it like I can on Facebook. And honestly, you can just message me, my real account, my Aidan Kearney account. Feel free to message on there. If you ever have a story tip or you want to tell me something, just don't friend request me. I don't need a million friends on there. Okay. You can just message me on there. But anyway, yeah. So smash that subscribe button. Remember, we're going to be doing shows during the trial every day. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday is going to be regular shows as long as there's court that day. Thursday is going to be Sex Cult still. Okay. Join Sex Cult. $15 a month. You get ad free on the website. And that comes in handy. I'm going to be doing a daily article about the what went down in court today. I published one earlier. Go check it out on tbdailynews.com. You got no ads on there. You get access to the Thursday night show that no one else gets access to if you do that. Fridays are not, there's going to be no streams on Fridays. I got my kids on Friday nights. They stay over here. I don't want to interrupt that. But it doesn't matter because like if there's court Friday, we can just cover that in the weekend show. You see what I'm saying? So we'll be good. We'll be good. And there's a lot to talk about because it's like I can't do every other day. There's too much shit. Think of all the shit that happened today. All that shit. There's so much to go over. We're going to be here all night. It's going to be a long show. So buckle up, people. Buckle up. It's going to be an awesome show tonight. There's so much to cover. I have a lot of thoughts on all the day's events. It was wild. I can't believe we're doing this again. It felt surreal being back in that courtroom today. It's like, wow, this is really, we're doing this again, huh? Every day I'm going to be here. Every day for the next 3 months, however freaking long this takes. But I will say this, it's better with Hank. It is. It's fucking Lally was painful. He's so boring. At least Hank is entertaining and he doesn't ask. I did not hear one what if anything today proving that you don't actually need to ask that. What if anything? We add up all the what if anythings and add up how much time that took? And can we get that many hours of our life back? What if anything? Seriously, bro. Lally, killing me. So anyway, I forget if there's anything else. Cool. Anyway, if you guys want to have your, the rest of Coffindaffer is stupid tweet here. So she goes, now they don't want to be held liable for disseminating these tripe. Now, if X and YouTube would just follow suit. So this is encouraging people to maliciously report me to Twitter and YouTube to have me removed, which would cause me economic harm. And I'm a witness in several cases. So this is actually witness intimidation. She's attempting to cause me economic harm. So somebody might want to pass this message along to Coffindaffer. You need to stop. Okay, you're gonna catch a lawsuit. I'm gonna sue you for defamation for all the things you said about me. You're on our list. You're one of the 5. You made it. Congrats. The reason you haven't been served yet is we're doing them one at a time. We're being very strategic about this. Okay, but you can't. I'm just telling you now, Jennifer. Right, and you are one of the only people that I plan on suing who has money. Okay, you obviously have some money. Because you were in the FBI, you probably have a pension, you probably have assets, and they're all going to be mine. You understand this? You need to stop. You need to chill out. Like these other ratchets I'm going to sue. Obviously, I'm going to sue Krusty Panties. She's up. She's coming up soon. Trust me. And because you can't say the things you guys are saying. There's consequences for this. Ask the fake victim. Ask her. She called me a rapist every day for like 6 months. And then she got papers. Has anyone heard a word from her since? No. She shut the fuck up. And that's what happens when you get sued. You shut the fuck up, don't you? Yeah, this shit's real cute. Real cute. Until you get some paperwork in the mail. And now you got to hire a fucking lawyer. Right? And you're like, oh shit. Was he actually a rapist? Did I actually? Oh yeah, words matter. Turns out I can't just call someone a rapist. I can't just do that. Words fucking matter. You want to fuck around? You can find out. Right? Try to cause me economic harm here. We don't have a freedom to harass and intimidate. No one's trying to do that. The blogger Aidan Kearney, spelt wrong, faces more than a decade behind bars if convicted of the charges he faces. Okay, first of all, I'll never be convicted. Secondly, I'll never do a day in prison. Ever. Best you can do is a bail revocation. You did that once, not going to happen again. And it's just not going to happen. Hoping for justice for John O'Keefe in spite of all the damage this person has caused. No. All the heroics this person has caused. I, unlike you worthless pile of shit, I have highlighted the injustice that has happened to John O'Keefe. The fact that his murderers are being allowed to be portrayed as witnesses in this trial. I have highlighted that. I am John O'Keefe's champion. John O'Keefe loves me. John O'Keefe is smiling down from heaven saying, that's my trigger right there, that guy. All these other bitches sitting in court, these Tara Kerrigans, the leprechaun motherfucker, Carl, Jackie Chinless, all of them. John hates them. He hates them. John loves me. That's my trigger right there. That's what he says every time he watches this show every Tuesday and Saturday nights. It's his favorite. I guarantee you that. And he's just like, thank fucking God somebody is standing up for me. Thank God that somebody is actually fighting for justice for me instead of these whack ass bitches that I had to call friends and family when I was living on this earth for 46 years. Okay. So that's that. So fuck yourself. Anyway, if anybody wants their messages read out loud to the class tonight, you can click at the link at the top for Turtle Chat. We don't have the super chats around here because, oh yeah, social media censorship. I'm demonetized. So that's okay. So we built our own platform called Turtle Chat. You click at the link at the top. You can pay whatever amount of money you want. When you do that, you get to write a message. I'll get the message. I'll read it out loud to the class and we'll have a great time. So you can also cash at me $, Uncle Turtle Boy. And we can do it that way. And so why don't we just start off reading some Turtle Chats? Let's see what we got so far. All right. Emily Morgan sends $5 and goes, pull up. Okay. Thanks. She also sends $10 and goes, hey, Aidan, since it's my birthday, happy birthday. I get to force my boyfriend to watch the trial today, mainly Alan Jackson's opening, and you're live tonight. Good man. Can you tell us your favorite moment today? Mine was Nuttall spitting out his nicotine. Definitely the Nuttall cross-examination when my favorite point in the cross-examination, which we're going to go over, was when he got him to admit when he couldn't remember what happened yesterday. That was the best. When he's like, my memory gets better over time somehow. And then he's like, so we'll just get to it. There was that part. I forget the exact scenario. We'll get to it. I also loved when it was announced, dude, the biggest takeaway today, the biggest thing that happened today, and it's kind of gotten swept under the rug, is that Alan Jackson announced that the defense has a medical examiner. What's her name? Elizabeth Laprasado. Is that her name? I don't even remember her name. She's the same one who did the Turk case. She is going to testify that John O'Keefe did not die from hypothermia. Do you understand how big that is? Do we understand how big? Did I not call that? Did I not say when we saw that witness list? Go check the tape. When that woman was put on the witness list, I said, this is going to be the biggest witness, this edition right here. No hypothermia. That means that she watched the video of the autopsy, that she examined. Because they do that. They take out all your organs, they videotape the whole thing. She looked at would it be the liver or the pancreas? Which one of those determines hypothermia? One of them does. You can look at it. That he looked at it. She looked at it and she's like, wait a minute. That is not what it looks like if you have hypothermia. That's not what it would look like. And she's going to testify to that. Even Scorty Bello wasn't that sure of it. She was a very unsure, non-persuasive Commonwealth witness, and that's why they're not calling her against the pancreas, right? It's the pancreas. So she obviously examined the pancreas and saw that this does not show signs of hypothermia. So, dude, I don't like if he did not have hypothermia. Do you understand what that means? Let's Google right now. How long to die in cold? No, how long to die from hypothermia? Okay, in 18 degrees. Okay. Need like a chart. Huh. Let's see if I can find it. Can't AI figure this shit out? Aren't they supposed to just give me answers? Okay, how long does it take to freeze to death in 20-degree weather? 50 to 60 degrees can cause death in 1 to 6 hours? What? $32 degrees or less can cause death in as little as 15 to 45 minutes? I'm having trouble finding the answer to this one. Does anyone know? Can anyone help me out with this? I'm dying at Googling. Let's see. I'm here dying Googling. Dying cold. I have to write Haslong, but this is like literally what was going on in Jen McCabe's mind when she Googled that shit. She's like, how long do we have? Think about it. It makes so much sense when you think about it. Call Jen. I don't actually call her. It's witness intimidation. Don't actually do that. How long? Let's see. And I'll do 20 degrees. Let's see what that says. I'm almost positive I saw this somewhere. If anyone can just send me an answer. Well, you can't. You got to message me on Aidan Kearney on Facebook now. But, I believe it's like 1 to 2 hours tops. Like you're done in 18 degrees. Cause that's what it was. And with the wind chill and everything, bro, like you're going to die quick of hypothermia. So if John wasn't dead and he didn't die from hypothermia at that time, then he is going to that means he was out there at what time? He might not have been put out there till like 5 a.m. There is a reason that Jennifer McCabe, the first thing she thought of was like, come here first. And then when Karen gets there, she's like, let's go back to your house where you just were. Yeah. Or you could have driven him. Like, what? And then let's search the house. Let's go room by room. What else can we do to delay this person? Okay. According to Chat GPT, everyone's saying, okay. A core body temperature below 70 degrees Fahrenheit, below 21 can be fatal. Okay. 10 minutes. People are done. Okay. Either way, it's pretty fast. So, you don't have to message anymore. I get it now. Thank you very much. Appreciate the help. See, that was my biggest takeaway today is that if they did not put him out, dude, they got him. They got him dead to rights. I just came out of this today so much more confident than I ever have been before. Like any fears that I had about this, which weren't many, went right out the door today. And there's 1,000,001 reasons why I'm actually more confident this time around than last time. I will say that I do believe that Spanky Brennan is more capable than Adam Lally, but that it could also backfire on him. So we'll see. And I did remember to sign up for next week. So thank you for the reminders with that. Okay. Next up, Tara sends $10 and goes, nice haircut. Oh, thank you. Did you catch Nuttall giving Brennan the objection look? And then Brennan objected. I did not. So happy for you to be there today. Well, thank you. Donna sends $25, goes, from Pinky, DG, Dr. Turtle, thanks for crossing the street today to take a pic with myself and my sister. It was great meeting you, and keep up the great work. It was great meeting you too, Donna, and a lot of other fine people I met today. First day, there was a big crowd there. When I got there this morning, close to 100 people in the buffer zone. Boots on the ground, was out and about. Spirits were high. It was a great feeling being out there today. So loved it. Loved every single minute of it. Okay, next up. And yes, Paul did get spoken to today. Somebody saw that in the chat. Paul did get spoken to. First of all, he brought Aaron with him for the first time since the incident. The article came out about his indiscretions. And, I'm sitting in court and they all walk right by me. The O'Keefe, I'm like right on the edge there. They walk right by me. And Paul is like got this attitude on him today. He came into court angry today. Like, bro, can we have a good time with this, Paul? Can we have a little fun? Like me and I have fun with everyone else. Like Joe Krowski Sr., I've talked a lot of shit about the Krowskis. I see them in person. We tease each other a little bit. You know what I mean? We have a little playful banter amongst us. There's no reason, Paul, that you and I can't be playful. Okay. I don't like you. You definitely don't like me. You kind of like me. You kind of respect me a little bit. You did want to get together and play golf. But like part of Paul is just angry and like dark. And like when he messaged me that time, he's like, I'm going to put you in jail and your kids can go fuck themselves. Like, whoa, easy, Paul. So he's walking out and it's tight quarters. And he looks at me. He's like, doing this thing. Like, whoa, easy's tough guy. Eddie's soldier. And I don't know what to do because I'm looking at him. I could be a punk and look away, but Mama didn't raise no punk, so I can't look away. So he's looking at me, and I just smile. That's all I can do. Kill him with kindness, And one of the court officers came over to me and was like, "Can you not?" I'm like, "No," because she saw the back of his head. She saw me smiling, and so she's like, "Can we not?" Like, seriously? And I'm like, I go, he's like staring at me. I don't know what else to do. And so I left. I came back 10 minutes later, and the court officers pulled me aside. They talked with the boss, and they said, you did nothing wrong. You did the right thing. We spoke with Paul. He is not going to look at you like that again. So they sided with me. In fairness, they did side with me. So I appreciated that. Anyway, back to this. Lena sends $5, goes, watching from the UK. Been looking forward to this all day. You are an absolute inspiration, doctor. Would love to meet you one day. Are you in court tomorrow? Yes, I will be. God bless you. P.S. Jennifer McCabe is the biggest cunt. No lies detected on that one. Absolutely no lies detected for sure. So thank you for that one, and hopefully to meet you someday as well. Next up, Hosslong before Beverly Cannoni goes to prison sends $10. Again, got to keep it short, guys. I will not read a whole thing like this if it's this long. I'll read the beginning. Feeble Brennan looked and sounded weak and disheveled, frail at best. Someone in the courtroom said he had a mustard stain on his cheap suit and he smelled as if he was drinking up all night. I myself noticed that as well. See what I'm saying by like that? If you got to keep it short, that whole sentence about the mustard, just don't need to put that, because that just, when you write a turtle chat, just think of like, what do I want him to say? What's the main point I'm trying to make there? Not every thought in your head has to go into a turtle chat. I'm just giving you a little advice here. Okay. Alan Jackson, on the other hand, looked and sounded powerful, articulate, and never slurred or stuttered like the lost and obviously inebriated Brennan. Very true. Thank you very much. Brady from San Antonio sends $25, goes, Tim Nuttall should change his name to Tim Neutered. Boom, roasted. Poor guy looked like he didn't get any sleep last night and aged more than 5 years since last trial. Gig 'em Aggies. Is anyone else surprised he was only 28 years old when he said that today? I'm like, oh, you're a kid. You know, I taught, you know what I mean? You're like class of 2014 or some shit. He's a baby. And he acted like one today. So we'll get to that. Thank you. Next up. Yes, give us fucking McDonough, guys. That's all we ask for. Next up. Billy Tibbetts sends $5 and goes, once Karen's acquitted, I'm going to Timothy Nuttall all over the place. Oh, I see what you did there. Thank you, Billy. Andrea sends $10 and goes, Doc, I saw you with your jaw dropped when that sidebar happened first thing. Are you allowed to spill the tea on that? Free Karen Reed and free Turtle Boy. I don't remember what you're talking. I'd have to go and watch again. So thank you very much. Thomas Autonomous Anonymous sends. Let's see. Thomas Autonomous Anonymous sends $10, goes, why is rehomed supervisor and Commonwealth witness prepping witnesses or involved in your case? I can't wait for Karen Reed's cross based on your hints of explosiveness. You mean Kerry Roberts cross based on your hints of explosiveness, but blink twice as she was caught swinging with McAlbert's long before the trip to Reebok. So now there's no swinging involved. But I can't wait for tomorrow. They have Kerry. I don't even know if Kerry, she must know what's coming tomorrow. They did not cross-examine Kerry Roberts the first time. That was a huge mistake. Top 5 mistakes made during the first trial. That's at the top of it. Kerry Roberts not being cross-examined. Okay. She should not be allowed to say that Karen Reed called her at 5 a.m. and said, John's dead, and just have that not get challenged. That you absolutely must challenge that. Okay. And you must challenge who Kerry Roberts is and what Kerry Roberts' motives are. Kerry Roberts is not just some innocent. We all know Kerry Roberts was not involved in killing John O'Keefe. She was not involved in the cover-up. But Kerry Roberts is fully invested in Karen Reed going to prison for something that she didn't do. And she is just determined to refuse to face reality. And that is, she has surrounded herself and befriended murderers. And so, because of that, she is very proactive, very, like, way more than she should be, way more than she should be. And you're going to find out, I think, a lot about that tomorrow. I know about it, not because Karen Reed tells me anything, but because I'm a defendant and I am privy to the same discovery that Karen Reed is when it comes to communications between the district attorney's office and witnesses in the case. Remember, we are entitled to all those. So anything Karen Reed gets, I get. So we'll see what comes up tomorrow. We'll see what we're going to find out, but it's going to be good. It's not going to be like today with her up there. Like, tell us about all your fondest memories and tell us about, oh, your kids play sports together. That's wonderful. What sports did they play? And, oh, tell us about your childhood and where you guys grew up. Nah. That's not going to help us solve this mystery. That's not going to do it. We need to know, what were you involved in? And does Jennifer McCabe have any nicknames? That's what I'm wondering. I wonder if she has any nicknames. I don't know anything about that. I wonder if that, I hope it comes up. Oh, I hope she does. I hope we're talking about it tomorrow night this time. I hope we are. Wouldn't that be fun? Getting excited, guys. Getting excited. And by the way, I do want to have a reminder here. Oh, yeah. 1 hour, by the way, is time. You can die from that. Tomorrow is the Auntie Deb dinner giveaway. And because the Karen Reed we found out at the last minute today that she has to fly into ARCA experts for Friday, because of course she does. And so, we got to get it up for her. That's what she said. But It says, well, we weren't going to do this, but Auntie Bev is making Arca fly in Friday. Dinner out with 2 gay dramatic bitches. Donate to Karen's defense fund to win dinner out with Meredith and Auntie Deb. The winner's choice in Worcester or Southie for you and a guest. There will be dinner, drinks, and drunk crying. If you're not local, you can do a virtual Zoom dinner. So yeah, basically it's a fundraiser for Karen Reed's legal defense. To enter, donate to the link below, $10 entry or $3, 3 for $25 at freekarenreed.net. The winner will be chosen this Thursday, April 24th on Auntie Deb's live stream at 8 p.m. Okay, be sure to mention them in the dinner in your donation. And don't do anonymously. Make sure you do it that way. So go, hook it up that way. It's for a good cause. There's that. Okay. All right. Anyway, back to this. Thomas Autonomous Anonymous sends $10, goes, why is rehomed supervisor and Commonwealth witness prepping witnesses or involved in your case? I can't wait for Karen Reed's cross based on Kerry. Oh no, I already read that one. Okay, cool. Let me read some Cash Apps here. All right, pull up. All right, starting with Liznay sends $5 and goes, what's up with the talent show curtain at Sidebar? Dude, that was so ghetto. I feel like I was driving through Brockton or something. That was a Brockton curtain I saw today in Auntie Bev's courtroom. What were those things? You might as well put up trash bags or some shit or bed sheets, something like that. I don't know what was going on with those. So thank you. Sonia sends $10, goes, yay, caught you live today. Love watching. Well, thank you very much, Sonia. I'm glad you like watching. Carrie sends 25 smackaroos and says, why couldn't Karen go to the Sidebar last trial? She goes to every Sidebar now. You notice that? And I don't know if she could or she couldn't. I don't know how that works. Good question, Carrie. Callie sends $25 and goes, thanks for the tweets today. You're awesome. Yeah, you can always check me out on the Twitter machine. I'm getting like 1,000 followers a day on Twitter now with court going on. So that's pretty cool. Casey sends $5 and goes, what are your thoughts on the new jury? I have a lot of thoughts on the new jury. First of all, my first thought is it's kind of like this atmosphere of North Korea down there where you are afraid that, like, what can I say? Am I allowed to go over here? Is Hardo going to arrest me? Like, what's going to happen if I do this? What's going to, and like, what happens if I tweet this? Am I allowed to, seeing the jury for the first time is so cool. And because I saw the last jury every day for, 10 weeks, whatever. And I'm like, wow, just seeing like you guys are the ones that get to decide this shit. That's fucking cool, And last time it was a very educated looking jury and they turned out to be highly educated, most of them, which didn't translate to street smarts because some of these morons thought that John O'Keefe got hit by a car. So yeah, the jury looks different. And last time the jury had a lot of older people, most of whom voted guilty. And I think that older people are less likely to understand and empathize with Karen Reed when it comes to drinking and driving. Whereas I feel like younger people can relate to that a little bit more. A lot of us guys have had a few wobbly pops and probably shouldn't have got behind the wheel of a car, but we did, and we made it home safe. And we're like, oof, that was a close one. Probably shouldn't have done that. A lot of people can relate to that. So they won't hold that against. Younger people are less likely to hold that against her. Younger people are less likely to hold it against her about the voicemails and the text messages with Brian Higgins. They're more likely to relate to that and be like, oh yeah, I've been there before. Cause that's just how I feel like relationships didn't work that way back in the olden days. You never saw crazy bitches. I don't know if Nana was ever a crazy bitch. I don't know what year crazy bitches were invented, but back in the day, I Love Lucy, there was no crazy bitches. and they just like older women and men might look at somebody like her and they can't relate. They can't understand it, and they're going to judge her. So I think the younger, the better, because some of these old bitches on the last trial, like Mama, the one who got kicked off that Jessica Machado would talk about every day, she made the comment to the dismissed juror, the one that was framed by John Fanning and Ty Donahue. She made a comment to that juror, Mama did, and Mama was like 60 years old, okay, and said, "Oh, I don't like the way she's looking at. I don't like the way Karen's looking at her parents. Doesn't that annoy you? What's going on?" And and she was gone. Now, when I was looking at Mama the whole trial, I'm like, that's a not guilty voter right there. That's a not guilty voter. One of the ones that I was worried about a little bit was this young girl in the front, the last trial, who was a nurse, as it turns out. And I was unsure of her because she wasn't making she had no tells or anything like that. And like, I thought maybe she was one of the holdups afterwards. As it turns out, she was one of the 3 holdouts that was like fucking holding the line and saved Karen Reed's life. So it just showed, and she was like she's like 30 years old. She was cute, nurse. I'd love to interview her if she ever wants to come on here and talk about her experience. But because in my opinion, she's a hero. She literally stood up to this madness, didn't give in at any time, and saved a person's life. So, but like this new jury, so you see him all for the first time today, and I was very happy to see the breakout. As you guys remember, the last jury was an all-white jury, except for Ronnie and another Asian guy. Other than that, there's 15 white people, and you hardly ever see that in this day and age. This is not an all-white jury. This is I would describe it as a proportionate jury to the population. I think it's adequately proportionate to representative of the overall population of Norfolk County. And they look like a jury that can be a lot more understanding of Karen Reed. Let's just put it that way. And based on, it turns out we can talk about the facial reactions, and we're off to a good start, because the facial reactions that I saw, a couple of them, a few of these people, and me and Nate Reed talked about it afterwards. We're like, that one. We already know the ones that are going to be good. It's very obvious. This is not, they have 0% chance of conviction already, because some of these jurors are going to get on. And there is no way in hell the ones I'm looking at today are ever going to vote to convict her of anything. So I think the best the Commonwealth can hope for at this time is they're playing for the tie. That's all they're doing. They want the 0-0. They're just going to kick the ball around for a while, not try to score, but just, play conservative, go for the tie. That's all they want. Go for the tie. So I am very confident after seeing this jury that this is going to be a good outcome. Okay. Next up, we have here, Chad sends $5, goes, did you notice you are on crotch cam now? I did. So, did notice that Bukaki and I are having a battle of the bulge. And last I checked, Ukraine didn't win that one. I don't even think they fought in it. So I think Turtle Boy Daddy's going to win the Battle of the Bulge with Bukaki, 100 times out of 100. So that was not on purpose. I like having the end seat there. There's more elbow room, and so I get it when I can. And I can't help it if the cameraman is zoomed in on my crotch. I can't. And I can't help it if the stylist picks out pants for me that, highlights my finer features. I can't help it. So I can't help it. I'm not doing it on purpose. Sorry. I'm sorry about the bulge. I apologize. So thank you, Chad. Next up, Liznay sends $5 and goes, Tim EMT Nutbag, Looks like Ren from Ren and Stimpy. Can't unsee that. Thank you. Let's see. She also sends $5 and goes, "Was up with the talent show curtain at sidebar." I'm not sure what that is. Brian sends $5, goes, "Was the real killer Brian Albert in court today?" No, they're sequestered. Thank you. Catherine sends $25, goes, "Keep up the great work, Turtle Boy." I appreciate that, Catherine. I will do just that. Pina sends $10, says, "Bev can't stop sighing into the mic. Cunt." No lies detected. Thank you. Heather sends $10, goes, "Jurors, reactions, take any notes." Yeah, they were all taking notes. Saw a couple yawns. It's going to be a long trial for some of them, I think. Holly sends $25 and says, "For the Karen Reed raffle, you win and raffle off again." Don't know what that means, but thank you very much, Holly. Heather sends $5 and goes, "So impressed with your work exposing the Commonwealth." Well, my pleasure. I'm happy you like me exposing them. Couple more here before we get started on the review of the actual case today. Let me read some of these. All right. All right. Biased Bev sends $25, goes, "Rafferty is out. She retired. It was announced at the select board meeting." I did see that. A lot of people have sent it to me. Interesting, but not surprising. You know, although why would she has a lot of bills to pay? I think she sold her mansion though. I don't know if she lives there anymore, but yeah, she's gone. So good riddance. She'll just be replaced by some other hack. Although, you know, the select board is run by normal people now. Could be some reform going on. I hope they hire someone from out of town. That's all I'm going to say. Just don't hire the next person up, Kelleher or whoever's turn it is. You know, get somebody new. All right, next up. This is from Sandra, sends $25 and goes, "I thought today's opening was great. I didn't love the end with stupid ass Bev being her usual bitch self about Arca. Do you think they won't be able to testify?" No, I think 100% they will be able to testify. I'm not the least bit worried about that. So thank you. Michael, professional douche Picard. Okay, so outside of court today, there was, I don't know if he posted this anywhere. Let me see if I can find it. So there's this fat guy named Michael Picard. And let's see if I can find it. Okay, so this guy's like a professional troll. And he's just kind of like funny. Like he's like, I get his sense of humor. I get it. It can be funny at times. I get it. And like he's goofy looking. He's like a fat guy who is, you know, like doing like I'm funny because I'm fat kind of thing. He's got that whole thing going. Like, look at me. I'm kind of weird looking and I'm make weird faces and I say ridiculous things. He's like a troll who his thing is he's obviously a liberal, and he goes to, I say he's a liberal because he only trolls conservatives. He doesn't troll liberals. So he goes and like tries to agitate them by being ridiculous and just hoping to provoke some sort of reaction out of them. And so he showed up today, and I don't mind this guy. I'm all for free speech. He's actually really important. He's done some really good work, believe it or not, with First Amendment stuff, free speech stuff in Connecticut. And I believe he sued somebody and won a major lawsuit. I'd have to look it up. But I told him like a year ago, I'm like, why don't you channel some of that energy? Like the biggest free speech threat right now is happening in Norfolk County. Why ain't you there? And so he finally showed up today, and he showed up with this sign. It said, "End anti-white racism." So obviously what he's trying to do here is tie Karen Reed, the Free Karen Reed movement, to like white, whatever, supremacy, whatever the fuck you call it, right? Which is not what we're about at all. We're not about that life at all. So, but this person is clearly trying to do that, and it's like, it's just not like, is this supposed to be funny? Like, I get what he's doing, and I don't know if he successfully provoked. What he wants people to be like is like, yeah, give it to him, right? Yeah, they're going after Karen because she's white, right? Yeah, like that's what he's hoping that people do, and I'm assuming that nobody took the bait. And like, I don't know. It's just like, this is what you're doing with your time. Okay, yeah, you could do this. It's just like, it's so weak. It's because, you know, this guy's a pussy because he's not doing this to the cops. If he were actually a free speech advocate who wanted to kind of push boundaries, why don't you go protest Hardman? Why don't you go do that? Why don't you go protest inside the buffer zone? Yeah, you're not going to do that. Instead, you go outside the buffer zone with your little sign trying to be kind of edgy and funny, but it's just gay, dude. Like, at the end of the day, it's just gay. And, you know, his friend there, Rita, I forget her fucking last name. I don't know. She's like another like, you know, far left radical communist troll who also showed up, and, you know, she had a sign that said like white is right or something like that. And it's like, dude, Rita, you're fucking gay, dude. Cut the shit. Like, it's not okay. Oh, you're so edgy. You're so edgy, bro. Yeah. You know, why don't you go try that? Do what Bao did today. Bao is fucking 100 times cooler and ballsier than any of these people, any of these chumps. So yeah, he had that sign. I mean, what is this? I went to opening statements and Karen Reed's second trial, and the Karen Reed folks cut the wire to my megaphone because they said we are only here because she's white. Yeah. Oh, we get it, dude. You're so funny. Yeah, you're so edgy, bro, Michael. Yeah, and you're kind of fat too, so it's funny because you're like fat and you don't care what you look like, right? And you're like, it's kind of funny. If you were skinny and you were doing this whole thing, it wouldn't be as funny. You're fucking funny, man. Is that what you want? You're funny, guy. You're so edgy, bro. Good job. First Amendment. Yay. Gay. Gay. That's you. So anyway, he's edgy, is what he is. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, enough about him. Okay, back to this. Let's see. Michelle S sends $10, goes, "Hi, Turtle Boy. Is it true Helena Rafferty resigned?" It is. Thank you, Michelle. Jana sends $25, says, "I was watching Attorney George observing the jury and taking notes. I think she's keeping an eye on them just in case any funny business goes on with the tampering." Yeah, she's great. She's so attention. Like, dude, the Reed team 2.0 is just so on point this time around. They roll deep, you know, and they got a whole apparatus amongst them. It was better. It was great last time, but it's even better this time. Jana sends, no, let's see. Melissa sends $5, goes, "During AJ's opening, he mentioned a witness that saw John walking in the house or in the house. Who do you think that could be?" That would be Brian Higgins. Same as the person last trial who said that he saw John walking in the house. So thank you for that one, Melissa. Holly sends $25 and goes, "EMT paramedic Tim Nuttall isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. He reminds me of someone who can be easily brainwashed. I think he believes his alternative reality and maybe enjoying the temporary limelight." I agree. He's seriously so weak-minded. I can see him confessing to a crime he did not commit. Exactly. Like, I don't think Timothy Nuttall is in on any conspiracy or anything like that. I just think he's stubborn and is does not want to admit that he's wrong at all, even though he was proven to be wrong many times. And we're going to get to that. So thank you. Next up, Emily sends $5, goes, did the defense ever get the text messages between Tully and Chris Albert? I don't know. Thank you, Emily. Paulie sends $5 and says, I Googled this a while back, wondering what Jen McCabe actually found for an answer. It was maybe 3 to 6 hours, depending on the health of the person and other factors. It was a wide enough range where she could have been panicking that he wasn't out there long enough when EMTs would have arrived. Exactly. Eric sends $10, goes, do you think they should ask the paramedics if they saw taillight littered all over the place? I believe, yeah, I mean, wouldn't they, when they were doing CPR on John, they're on their knees, right? Aren't they on top of taillight? There's 47 pieces of it, dude, you know? Like, it's a lot. So there's that. Fabulous Fabby sends $5, goes, AJ said something about witnesses this time around, saying they did see John come in the house. Also, what was, again, that's Brian Higgins. Same as last time. Also, what was the feeling in the courtroom during AJ's opening message from California? For me, the feeling was electric. It was awesome. I've seen Alan Jackson many times perform and do his thing up there. I have never seen him as good as he was today. This is the best I've ever seen Alan Jackson ever. Some of the best lawyering I've ever seen ever, what you saw in the courtroom today. I hope he continues to bring the energy with him every single day. Jess and Jen Kelly sent $10, goes, hey, Turtle Boy, watching every moment. Thank you, and sending love from Callie, the twins. Well, thank you very much. Love the twins. Romy sends $50, says, I'm anxious about the Arca Vardir. I'm not. I would say I'm excited about that. They're going to destroy him. Again, Hank is nothing, dude. Hank is nothing. Hank is going to get exposed by these people. The only one I'm a little worried about with Hank is Lucky, because Lucky is, and Rick Green a little bit, because Rick Green and Lucky are like nice guys. And nice guys are like, Hank tries to go after nice guys. And whereas like the Arca guys, the Crash Daddies, they're too smart for him. They are just going to fucking bring it, motherfucker. They're smarter than him. So they'll do great. They'll do great. Next up, Aaron sends $10, goes, Jen McCabe is a cunt and Tara is a stage 5 clinger. Tell me about it. She was there again today. Leslie sends $10, goes, it was lovely to meet you and sweet Meredith at court today. Free Karen Reed and free Turtle Boy. Well, thank you, Leslie. Mango sends $25, goes, John Connolly out. Helena Rafferty out. Do you ever get tired of winning? Well, we haven't won yet. I still got a whole bunch of charges on me, and so does Karen Reed. So, but to answer your question, no, I don't get tired of it. It's an awesome feeling. Next up, Auntie Bev's Clam Bake sends $10, goes, Father Tortoise, Karen really should stop with the smiling and faces. The evidence makes me 99% sure of her innocence. Her attitude is why it's not 100%. Well, if you're actually, no offense, but you're fucking retarded. Thanks for the $10. If you are 1% more convinced because of the faces she makes, then you're fucking retarded. I don't know what else to say. You can say that like she should stop with the faces because she needs to, win the jury over. Okay, fine. But to say that you are 99, you're 99% convinced, not 100 because of the faces, that's on you. Like that's a you problem. That's you. Like if a face that someone makes in court can change your opinion about a person's guilt or innocence, you're fucking retarded. But thank you for the $10. I appreciate that. Next up. No offense. $10 from Miranda says, Mama didn't raise no punk. Let's fucking go. Thanks for all you do. Appreciate that. Dana sends 25, says, do you think there's a chance Kerry Roberts is afraid of the McAlberts and that's why she's anti-Karen? She has seen firsthand what they can do to people. No. Don't give her that much credit. Kerry Roberts just sucks. She's a shitty person. period. End of story. She is a dysfunctional marriage. She's raising a brat who goes around throwing rocks in people's windows. He's a punk. Everybody says that about the kid. I don't want to talk shit about a kid, but that's what people say around Canton. And, it's a result of I've published Kerry Roberts' arrest report. The two of them getting in a drunken domestic dispute. She's just trash. Don't let a lot of people they're white people and they live in Canton. They can be trash. Oh, they can be trash too. Her house ain't that nice. She doesn't have a nice house in Canton. So anyway, back to this. Varys sends $5, goes, here's an example of a proper turtle chat. Bev is a cunt. Yes. Thank you, Varys. Appreciate that. Holly sends $25, goes, I wish Thomas Autonomous Anonymous had a shorter name. All right. Don't we all? Albert McCloey sends $20, goes, whoops, this was a butt dial. If you don't win the lottery to be in the courtroom a given week, but there are empty media seats, can you get in anyway? There's 3 alternates and they can take those spots. Grant did not show up today. Grant had one of the spots and Canton TV took his spot. So it was nice to see Andrea Galvin in there in court today. Turtle Mommy sends $5, goes, I love your hot takes, but I can't help but feel you just gave Kerry time to think up an excuse or a rebuttal for tomorrow's cross. Hopefully not. I know Daddy's smart. Trust me. Remember, they can't surprise you with anything. So anything the defense is going to confront her with tomorrow, Spanky has already prepped her on how to deal with that. Rebecca sends $25, goes, hey, doctor, I'm sorry for approaching you Sunday, but I just had to meet you. How did you like IC Immaculate Conception in Father Stephen? Oh, it was nice to meet you, Rebecca. First of all, don't apologize. So I was in church at Easter Mass the other day with my sister lives in Marlboro. So we went out to Easter Mass there and went to her church. It's lovely. A lot of Brazilians. This lovely person came over to me and said, I watch the show every night. My kids think it's funny every time people do that in front of me. So they do like that. And my dad was there. He appreciated hearing that too. So never apologize for coming up to me in public. And I had a great time. It was a lovely church. So thank you very much. Okay, cool. Oh, of course I went to Mass. It's friggin' Easter. You know what I mean? I go to church every Sunday, but Easter is obviously a big one. And there are a lot of Brazilians in Marlboro. It's like crazy how many Brazilians there are out there. Anyway, okay. So if anybody else wants their message read, you can you can click on the link at the top for Turtle Chat, or you can cash at me at $ Uncle Turtle Boy, and we can do it that way. Okay. So let's review the whole day, starting with what happened outside court with Bao. Okay. I want to talk about this because this pertains to the buffer zone. So if you're unfamiliar with Bao, I like Bao. Bao is a Asian guy with long hair who has a YouTube channel it used to be called like Clashes with Bao. I don't know what he is. I don't know what he does. But he is into the drama community on Facebook and has been kind of documenting crusty panties over the years. Isn't really anti or pro anything. Just kind of shows up somewhat of a troll, but not really. I like him. I've always liked Bao. I never had anything against him. Some people are bothered by Bao. I like Bao. Okay. I think he's interesting. I always am polite and respectful to him. And he's never been anything but polite and respectful to me. Okay. Is my understanding that he lives in a van and he drives across the country and films shit. I don't know how he survives. He's telling me like he showers at YMCAs and shit like that. But, that's Bao. He survives off of donos. Who knows? And so he showed up today and he got arrested. Okay. And it was complete bullshit from what I've seen. He's the first arrest that happened.
Officer don't want to scan anything. Hey, what's going? Can you tell me what's going on? Oh, we got some scouts out today. I remember that scout over there. I think I've seen her before. Morning, Mike. How are you?
How you doing? Get back.
Get back this way?
Get back. Get across the street.
Over here?
Over here.
Now look at this. Like, why can't this is bullshit? See all this media down here waiting for Karen Reed to arrive? He has just as much of a right to be there as anyone. He's not wearing a Free Karen Reed shirt. He's just filming. He has every right to do that. There's nothing in the buffer zone restriction that says that you have to have a media pass to be able to walk down here and film. Everyone has a right to do that. It's fucking ridiculous. These cops are on a power trip.
Morning, Mike. How are you?
So this is Mike This is Mike Hardman. We call him Hardo. He's been in my house before. He was there on the day I was arrested. He was in charge of transporting me to Stoughton, and he's like very militaristic. His son actually plays for the New Jersey Devils, and everybody calls him Hardo. And he's loud. He's always threatening to arrest people. He's not cool. He's not cool to be around. And he's so aggressive unnecessarily. And this is what happened.
This way?
Get back. Get across the street.
Over here?
Over here.
Oh, what's going on?
Go.
What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Can you tell me what's going on?
You cross the street, you're getting locked up.
Do you know what?
You gotta keep moving. Back behind the buffer zone, okay?
Can you tell me what's going on?
Hey, trooper, deal with them.
Hey, can you tell me what's going on? I'll comply with you. I just don't know what's going on. I just got here. Yeah.
Case going on.
Yeah.
We got the defense and the prosecution coming, right? So time, place, restrict. We can restrict the area, right?
Now this guy is fine. I've had conversations with. I forget his name. These are my babysitters. They're at everywhere I go. That's what I call them. Every time I go to Stoughton, anytime, it's always Hardman and his crew of troopers. And I've got no problem with any of them. They're all they're fine. I have no complaints about any of these guys. And as you'll see here, they're doing what their boss is telling them to do. Telling Bao to move it along, trying to explain to him why you got to go.
You just got here. I don't know what's going on.
Order. We are restricting the
phone?
order.
Huh?
You have another cell phone?
You
got the QR code.
Man,
right
I do have another cell phone. I just don't want to scan anything. Can you tell me what's going on? I'll comply to whatever you need me to comply with.
So we just have a buffer zone, and because of the case, and because of how well known it is, right? So we got a buffer zone, so we can have a fair and impartial trial, right? So we have signs, right? There's going to be a sign right on that screen, right? See where it says Old Fellows Hall?
Completely missed it, but I'll go read it.
Old Fellows Hall, like right there, is where the buffer zone starts. Okay, so you got to move it. So you just got to move.
He's just explaining it to me.
But you're not. But you're not talking.
And this right here is when he's decided he's going to jail.
And so you can move. Guys.
I mean, I just got here, man. I just got into town. I'll keep it moving. Yeah, can you tell me what's going on? Yeah.
So you got a buffer zone. Right? So that's it.
What was that? I don't.
Like, what the fuck?
Are you kidding me right now?
And it's still streaming. It's uncalled for.
Seattle, take his property.
Like, tell me this doesn't feel like North Korea or some shit. Like, this is so un-American. Some guy, he just got there. He filmed. He wasn't yelling at anyone. He wasn't yelling "Free Karen Reed." He wasn't protesting. He just walked in, holding his freaking camera like every other media person was doing on a public street. And then he just comes over and gets assaulted and smashes his camera down for like unprovoked. That was horrible. Like, that was actually horrible. Like, I hope that he sues, because this is absolutely absurd. Nothing in the buffer zone provision says that you can't walk by with a camera. Nothing like that.
Yep, keep moving.
All right, listen, I have your property, okay?
I don't have a process on this, and I'm getting claustrophobic.
What's your first name?
My name is Val.
You have an idea?
All right,
Yeah.
listen, I have your property, okay?
Okay, I'm just, I'm in shock, and that's why my heart rate's up, and I'm talking
That's
like
okay.
this. I didn't know I was going to get slammed against the car.
Listen,
like this.
my heart rate would be up if I was in cuffs too.
Right, but I didn't.
Just take a breath. Take a breath.
Like
take a breath.
I just need some water. I need the medic. I need my
need
heart
a
rate.
medic?
Ready. Yeah, I'm in shock.
Okay, hey,
so
listen. Stop talking.
Listen,
Hey,
take a breath.
stop talking.
Take a breath.
Breathe. You're fine, right? I haven't done it, right?
I just got. I don't know if I'm
You're
fine. I
fine.
just got slammed up against the car, and my head hurts. And
Okay, you're
I didn't know I was
also a
going to be
grown.
slammed up
Listen,
against the car like
you're
that.
also a grown man.
Yeah, but I just got slammed. I just got a really big person just slammed me up against the car, and I don't know what happened. Like I'm trying to figure out what happened. I was walking away. You were explaining something to me, and when you were explaining it to me, I was listening. Next thing you know, I got slammed up against the car, and I don't know. I'm trying to process all of this.
You're just hyping yourself up, okay?
I'm just trying to process all of this.
Just take a breath.
I'm in cuffs. I can't calm down. I don't
Yeah,
know
because
what happened.
you're under arrest. Okay, it's simple as that.
Right, but I don't know what happened.
You're gonna go get booked, and that's it. I'm just letting you know we have your property.
Yeah, but I didn't do anything.
So take a breath. So it's gonna be up here.
Like what country? What country is this? You know, I don't even reckon. Like, where are we right now? Where this is happening?
Can I get a medic?
What do you need a medic for?
I'm busy. I know right now.
It's a mayor,
I
okay?
need to the court. Fuck this,
I'm trying
man.
to talk to you
I don't
like a
know
man.
what's
I don't
going
need to
on.
talk to you
Like, I
anymore.
don't know what's going on.
I
I
don't
just got slammed up against the fucking transit. Now you're gonna close the door on me? You just said you was gonna leave it open for some air.
I am leaving it open.
Yeah, and then you try to talk to me and try to explain this to me like it was some fucking because I got slammed up.
Anyway, so this goes on. He wouldn't give him the passcode to his phone, so it just kept streaming for like 7 hours. Like it's like, and thank God, it's just like, how bad is that? Obviously, Bao is not all there, but he's fucking harmless. Like, look at him. Like, that guy's harmless, and we're going after that guy. What is wrong with this state? What is wrong with this county right now? That guy should be in jail. Like, what? But I'll tell you one thing: Bao's got bigger balls than Michael Picard. He actually stood up for something today, you know. But anyway, so that's that. That's how the day started, and then let's get started with the actual stuff. So he's in jail. He's in jail now. Michael Bao is in jail. He was held. So he was arraigned at Dedham District Court. Yeah, let's see. This is the
court-ordered buffer zone went into effect around the courthouse. Take a look at the video. It shows
There he is.
a man with
Look at
a
that.
camera being taken into custody
Look at
by
that.
state police just outside the courthouse. This incident
That's just so
happened
not
before 9 p.m.,
necessary.
Before court was called into session for the retrial. And around the same time, a commercial truck that was also in front of the courthouse was pulled over after the driver shouted, "Free Karen Reed." Now, we have asked state police for more information about each of these incidents. The judge overseeing the Karen Reed trial widening the buffer zone from the previous trial after jurors then reported hearing protests outside. The zone does not allow for anyone to have any signs.
This is all Ryan Piotrowski's fault. That's what the foreman's name from the last trial is. Ryan Piotrowski. He is a liar. He lied in his affidavit. He's a piece of shit who voted, former cop, hit by a car, voted for that Karen Reed was guilty of manslaughter because he's a fucking retard. And whatever, is what it is. The real crime he committed was that stupid affidavit he wrote that said that they could hear people outside chanting the whole time. That's a fucking lie, Ryan Piotrowski. You're a fucking liar. You never heard that. He never heard that. That never happened, ever. Ronnie said this. Ronnie said they never heard that shit. Not during the actual proceedings. It's a fucking lie. And as a result of that lie, that's what we're seeing right here. We're seeing this crackdown because of his fucking lie. Ryan Piotrowski is a piece of shit. He's the foreman of the jury. He refused to allow Ronnie and the other juror to ask Auntie Bev if this actually happened, to ask her, can we acquit on these two charges we voted to acquit her on? Can we do that? He told him no. He's a piece of fucking shit, and it's okay to say his name. His name is Ryan Piotrowski. He's a fucking maggot. That's what he is. Anyway, back to this, because this just pisses me off. When I see this shit, this is all Ryan Piotrowski's fault. He did this. So no, he didn't bail out. He couldn't bail. They wouldn't give him bail. Oh, and somebody brought me. It got a little messed up in the bag, so it's not their fault. But somebody dropped off from Canton, an anonymous Canton mom, a whole bunch of buffalo chicken dip and bread for me today. By his pal. But yeah, this is him. This is Tommy Matson's video of him being brought in.
Roger, I'm trying to get a hold of Gabby. She went to a meeting. Do you want an ambulance to respond as well?
Can you repeat that?
I'm trying to get a hold of Gabby. She went to a meeting. Do you want an ambulance to respond as well?
Roger.
Anyway, he gets brought in there, and he is apparently been held Section 15A, whatever, mental health. So yeah, he's in jail. So he's probably where I was at the Norfolk County House of Corrections in the medical unit. That's probably where he's sleeping the night, and it fucking sucks in there. So anyway, it makes me mad too. You know, I'm not gonna lie. This should make it's very upsetting seeing that. But anyway, let's get back to the actual trial and watch some of the highlights of it, shall we? All right, let's start with Spanky's opening. Let me put this on 1.5 speed.
Draw near, give your attendance in.
Remember that this is prosecutor, implemented by.
At 6:04 a.m. on January 29, 2022, the alarm bell sounded in the Canton Fire Department. Firefighter paramedic Timothy Nuttall knew what that meant. His heart skipped a beat. He raced to his equipment and he picked up his bag, which was meticulous. There was a sign and a signal, and then there was a voice commanding that there was cardiac arrest. The most serious of calls for a firefighter and paramedic, that means that a person's heart has stopped. He didn't know who it was. He didn't know where it was. He took his bag. He had just gotten to the station, and he rushed to the ambulance. He was one of the most senior paramedics that morning. Another paramedic, Anthony Flamati, would be running this mission. He jumped in the back of the ambulance, the door shut, and they headed off to 34 Fairview Road.
All right, so one of the things that's just bizarre about this is not an angle that I thought he'd be taking, is that the real hero of the John O'Keefe story isn't Jennifer McCabe or Kerry Roberts or Brian Albert. Like, you know, he'd come up with something like that, or poor Paul O'Keefe or something like that. No, the real hero is somebody named Timothy Nuttall. He's who this whole trial revolves around. Let me tell you, boys and girls, the story of a young man named Timothy Nuttall, who he's the real the unsung hero here. And look at Lally. Look at Lally.
He couldn't hear anything other than the engine of the ambulance. He could feel it sliding across the road. It was near blizzard conditions. He calmed himself. He steadied himself. This is what the firefighters and paramedics are trained to do, to focus. And he focused on his task. He looked around the back of the ambulance to make sure all the tools were in place. The ambulance was meticulous as well. This was Anthony Flamati's ambulance, and it was well stocked. He calmed himself, and he thought about what was going to happen. What should he be looking for? What is his next steps? He played the scenarios through his mind, and Gary Kahn was above him. As the car pulled up to 34 Fairview, the ambulance, he stood at the back door, the doors open, and he stepped out into bedlam. He could hear women screaming and shrieking, the cold, hard air slapping on his face, and the wind, blizzard conditions swirling around him. You will hear him tell you how he trudged towards those screams in the darkness to snow, and when he got there, he saw 3 women surrounding a man lying, not moving on the ground. He walked up to the man, and he reached down, and he tried to find any signs of life, pulse, anything, and he found nothing. And he got up and he walked over to the woman, and he walked over to that kind of Kearney.
That's fine.
And he told her that he thinks that man is gone. And then he heard the yell from Anthony Flamati, the chief, and he said, "Come back, let's go." Because you'll learn that in the cold, even if somebody's heart stops, even if they're presumed to have passed, sometimes you can still save a life. So you'll see on a dash cam video, you'll hear from testimony, he went back to that man who's John O'Keefe. He went back to him, and that group, coordinated effort. They did. He wanted any information. Because when you're trying to save someone, you want to know, are they on drugs, medication, do they have a heart condition? And he looked up at Miss Reed and he said, "What happened?" And you'll hear her words to firefighter Nuttall. She said, "I hit him, I hit him, I hit him." And it was at that time, through the words of the defendant, that she admitted what she had done that night, that she hit John O'Keefe. Now, those words didn't mean anything to firefighter Nuttall. They weren't in context. They didn't reconcile with the injuries. It didn't help him in his treatment, so he ignored it. Now, firefighter Nuttall is not a police officer. He is not an investigator. He is not a detective. He's a first responder. And so he takes that information. It was useless to him. He continues to work on John O'Keefe, trying to save his life. You'll see the team put him on a stretcher. And when they lift him from the ground, even though there is snow accumulating, underneath John O'Keefe is simply grass, hard ground.
Hard as a rock. Hard as a rock.
His body laid his cell phone. They bring him to the ambulance. I'm not bringing him to the ambulance to see on the videos that other first responders speak to the defendant. One first responder, before that issue, will say, I hit him, oh my God, I hit him. And then she was interviewed or asked questions for background information, not a criminal investigation, just background to try to help John. And she was asked questions about his background. And during that conversation, you won't hear her see the defendant with a person by name Jen McCabe and a firefighter McLaughlin. And she tells Firefighter McLaughlin, with her first responder, I hit him.
Okay.
Firefighter Nuttall's first instinct is active. John O'Keefe passes. So why we're here today? We are here today because John O'Keefe was killed by the actions and conduct of that defendant, Kearney. You will learn through this case, through facts, science, and data, you will learn that on January 29th, 2022, when the defendant and Mr. O'Keefe were in front of 34 Fairview Road, all the way to the left side in the dark corner near a flagpole, you will learn that Mr. O'Keefe got out of the car, got out, and he stood by the side of the road after an argument.
Here we go.
That argument, that anger fueled by heavy intoxication, you will learn from the science and data as he stood by the side of the road, the defendant in her SUV drove away. She drove at least 35 feet away. The argument was over. It had ended. Then she stopped.
I mean, this is such fantasy. And he's so sure of it. First of all, it used to be 62 feet. I like how it's 35 feet now. They're just making shit up. Which means that that's something in the texturing data told them that. So he's like, so let me get this straight, just so we're clear. So they got in a big argument. And she drops him off in the corner of the yard, not in the driveway for some reason, just drops him off there. Okay. And then John O'Keefe, she's real mad, and she just pulls up 35 feet in front of the Asian house next door. And John O'Keefe just stands there. It's fucking freezing out. He's underdressed, and he's just standing in the corner of Brian Albert's lawn for no apparent reason. And okay, right.
She stopped. She put the Lexus into neutral, and she waited.
Yeah.
And the facts and the science and data will tell you that despite the fact the argument was over, she then put the Lexus into reverse, put her foot on the gas pedal, and began to press, not 25%, not 50%, up to 75%.
Whoa.
There was a light dusting of snow. The Lexus tire spun backwards. She went backwards at least 70 feet. She clipped John O'Keefe.
70
fell
feet.
backwards.
Wait, 70 feet. So she pulled up 35 feet and she's going back 70 feet now. First of all, it was 62 feet before, but now it's 70. So that means she went 35 feet back and then she just kept going 35 more feet. At what time? When does the white Jeep get involved in here? Isn't that, I'm confused here. This is just making shit up. And by the whole thing with the neutral, why the fuck would she put the car in neutral? Wouldn't you put it in, I don't know, park? Why neutral? And then the tires spinning. You know what he's describing here? He's describing what would happen if, I don't know, they attempted to get a car out of a foot of snow in a driveway. It was not shoveled out yet, and you got to spin the tires to get it out and then put it in neutral to put it on a tow bed. That seems to be what's being described here. That's what that sounds like to me. That sounds a lot more plausible. But okay, Spanky, with your bad self. Go ahead.
Hit his head, broke his skull, and there he lay at the corner of Fairview Road, on the ground, lying on top of his cell phone, alone. And then the defendant will later tell that when she left, he didn't look mortally wounded. Yet he was. And she simply drove away. Now, before I tell you...
Another lie. She never once said that he looked mortally wounded then. The mortally wounded comment comes from what she said that she saw him later on.
The data and the facts and the science, and I walk you through that. I'd like to tell you a little bit about John O'Keefe. John O'Keefe was a young man, a local kid, very well liked. Well, John O'Keefe is the son of Peggy O'Keefe, John O'Keefe Sr., and the brother of Paul O'Keefe. Grew up in Canton.
No.
Family man.
Wait, he say grew up.
What you're gonna learn is the son
Did
of
he just say he grew up in Canton? Hold on.
Peggy O'Keefe, John O'Keefe Sr., and the brother of Paul O'Keefe. Grew up in Canton.
Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. I mean, what a piece of shit. You don't even know John O'Keefe. You're up here being like, I care so much about John O'Keefe. Bitch, you're a hired whore. You're a whore. That's all you are. You're a $250,000 whore. That's what you used to be, a $75,000 whore. Now you're a $250,000 whore. John O'Keefe grew up in Braintree, my dude. Have a little bit of respect on his name. How about you learn about him a little bit first? He is not some Canton townie. That's why he's fucking dead, by the way. Because if John O'Keefe grew up in Canton, he'd be alive. They wouldn't dare fucking kill him because he'd be a protected class. It's because John O'Keefe was an outsider that didn't belong there, that didn't grow up worshiping the Alberts and sucking their fucking balls. That's why he's fucking dead. But go on. Tell me more about this person you couldn't even figure out where he grew up.
Worked hard, he became a police officer. But what you're going to learn, the fact that he worked for the Boston police officer, was just a fraction of his life. It was a small, really unimportant part because the biggest part of John O'Keefe is he was a family man.
Yes.
Not in the traditional sense. You see, John O'Keefe never had biological children. John O'Keefe was never married. But he didn't sit by. He saw these two recently orphaned children and he stepped in and he said, keep parents. And he raised the children with the help of people in the community.
Okay.
And Mr. O'Keefe be acquainted. And they started a relationship. And you'll hear that even though the defendant had her own home, she was staying with Mr. O'Keefe a lot, 4, 5, 6 times a week. And to most of the world, it was a pretty good relationship. They spent time together. They did activities with the children together. She helped with driving the children, feeding the children. It was a steady relationship until about the beginning of 2022. And then things began to unravel. There was tension. There was arguments. In fact, just a few days before this incident, you'll hear that Mr. O'Keefe asked her to leave. But she wouldn't. You're going to be able to read text messages of their conversations on January 28, 2022. You will see the tension in the.
It doesn't count as asking someone to leave if you ask them to come and see you a week later. That doesn't count. That does not count. You don't get to say, be like, she was asking him to leave. He was asking her to leave. Bitch, I read the text from that day. He was begging her to come. In fact, he was like trying to talk her out of having the plumber come that day. He's like, I'll come there and fix it. Come get snowed in with me. That's what he was saying. Come give me a ride, or give me a ride. We want to get wasted tonight. We need you to come give us a ride. It's a fucking lie. You know how many people do that? Oh, I'm so mad at you. I never want to see you again. You're a fucking piece of shit, whatever. And then next time they're like, so what time am I coming over? Okay. Like, you know how many people live like that? Lots of people live like that. Where it's just like, give me a break. It does not count as being kicked out of the house if you are invited back a week later. Stop it.
The unraveling of the relationship. You will read about the discord between the defendant and Mr. O'Keefe. You will see that when he would ignore her calls, they would become incessant. When he would try to push away, she would come closer. You will read those text messages and you will realize that this was the beginning of the end of this relationship. That night, they decided they would go out together. I want to tell you something about data and science before we get to that night. I mentioned that underneath John's body was a cell.
Just look at him. Look at that face right there. That is the face of a cucked man. Look at Lally. Can we just stop the face he's making? He's just like, how humiliating that he has to just sit there and watch like a real man do an opening. Like Lally stood there and read off a fucking placard and mentioned Michael Camerano and Michael, this and that, and Kirk Roberts and blah, 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 4 Bud Lights and blah, 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 blah. And this guy's walking around, no script, doing his whole, I don't need no script thing. I'm going to talk from the heart and get everything wrong, but at least I'm talking from the heart. He's got that whole thing going on, which I'll give him credit. Like this was a better opening than Lally's. It's still weak. It's not good. It was only 35 minutes and it didn't contain any passion. There was no like inflection in his voice. There's no passion. You know what I mean? You need more passion. This is supposedly a guy that, can you guys at least act like you believe that Karen Reed murdered this guy? Because you're not selling it to me like you actually believe it.
A cell phone is an amazing piece of technology. It is like a computer. It carries extraordinary data.
It's like a computer?
When they found the cell phone, the only thing they found out that night, they studied the cell phone, and there'll be some remarkable data that you will use in this case to find the truth. I want to mention 3 different things you will find in a cell phone that are critical to this case. The first is called location data. Waze we've all heard of, Google Maps. Well, at some point that night, John put his Waze on, and Waze is like a breadcrumb that will show exactly where the phone goes second by second. It is the strongest, most accurate location data that you can have. And that night, John was using Waze. It also will have healthcare data. Healthcare data will show when somebody is moving. Sometimes it's qualified as steps, but it doesn't necessarily mean somebody's stepping, moving their arms, walking, turning. It doesn't show what direction or how far, but it shows the movement of a person.
Wait a minute. Health data? You mean like when it says that he was going up and down 3 flights of stairs? That health data? Is that what we're doing? Okay.
And the third thing, remarkably, it will be an expert in this case, who found the data file on the phone, and it tracks the temperature of the cell phone battery.
Oh.
That will be critical to your analysis in this case, the temperature of the cell phone battery. And so with that, I want to take you back to the timeline of that night. After the Discord, both the defendant and Stroke decided they would meet at a bar.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Parties in a local bar, blizzards pending, and people are getting together in a celebratory.
I'm with you on that. What is with the suit? Is that like it's so? Why is it like a circle? But it's tailored better. He's definitely been listening to Turtle Boy, and he took it to. It's just everything about this guy. It's like just. It's so fucking bootleg.
You will count 8 vodka drinks that the defendant drank. They arrive at 8:50. They stay till 9:45. You consume at least 7 of those drinks in less than 2. The last drink, you'll see where they leave the bar. She puts it under the jacket, and they walk out and they go to another bar to meet other friends called the Waterfall. They reach the Waterfall sometime around 10 p.m.
Okay.
And you'll see many hugs between John O'Keefe and his friends and the defendant and many of the people there. And they spend some time together, in drinking, and they all do a shot. And that will be at least the 8th drink. The defendant's Lexus vehicle chips. You might have heard of black box in an airplane, where there's some kind of event that captures a small amount of time. Well, that was captured in the defendant's Lexus. That black box information with the cell phone data will tell you everything you need to know in this case. It will bring us step by step through the entire night to do that with Dono. And so they leave the Waterfall bar at 12:12, and you'll see that the ignition goes on to the defendant's Lexus. And both John O'Keefe and the defendant in the car, they decide that they're going to go back to 34 Fairview Road, where we talked about earlier. They're going to go there for a get together for one of the homeowner's sons who's having a birthday party. And so as they drive back, you will be able to follow them with this location data. When they go back to Fairview, they don't know exactly where it is, and they get lost. And so John O'Keefe makes a phone call. Has a phone call with one of his friends, Jen McCabe. And during that phone call, which the defendant listens to, which she recounted, they're trying to get directions. Jen McCabe tells John O'Keefe, it's near Bella's mom's house. They take a wrong turn loop, and then they do a 3-point turn in the driveway. You see the exact precise driveway they turn into, because some type of acceleration will trigger that black box in the Lexus. And that's important because 7 minutes before the collision. And you'll see from the Waze exactly where the car was. You'll see from the black box the event of the 3-point turn in the driveway, and then they turn down the Fairview. But before they get there, at 12:23, a truck is coming the other way. And the witnesses in that truck will say they blinked the lights. One of them saw a man and woman in the car, John and the defendant, and then they followed the Lexus because they were going to the same house. The truck stopped at the driveway, and the Lexus, the defendant's car, will appear because of the Waze and be counted second to second, never stops. It rolls very slowly all the way to the end of the yard in the corner where there's a tree line and a flagpole. And they reached that location at 12:34:33.
They reached that location at 12:34:33. Did he misspeak? Did he mean to say 12:24? Because I mean, this stuff matters, right? He says they got there at 12:34. What? I thought everything's off. Like, wait, so she got back to John's by 12:36 and killed him at 12:32. Was she traveling in a time machine? What the fuck was this thing?
And they're in the car and they stay there. The truck waits, they keep somebody in the house, comes out, the person goes back in the house, and they're about 5 minutes. We're now down to 2 minutes before the collision. The truck leaves, and now it's just the defendant and John. And while they're waiting outside, 12:27, John gets a text from Jen McCabe. parked behind us in the driveway. 12:29, text again, are you coming in? You'll hear that Kerry Roberts look out the window and see the defendant's Lexus in front of the flagpole at the far end. It's snowy, it's dark, it's windy, they're waiting. You will know that John O'Keefe was in that car, that Lexus, and didn't move because his healthcare data is not moving. It's not moving until 12:31:56. At 12:31:56, he begins to move. You will have 20 seconds before he falls. 20 seconds. You get out of the car, the Lexus, and in that 20 seconds, you'll hear that user initiated. He looks at the phone, at the text message he deprecated. It's now 12:32:09. Close the phone the last time. It will be the last time he uses that phone.
Wait a minute. Hold on.
20 seconds before the fall. Car, that Lexus, it didn't move because his healthcare data is not moving. It's not moving until 12:31:56. At 12:31:56, he begins to move. You will have 20 seconds before he falls. 20 seconds. He gets out of the car, the Lexus, and in that 20 seconds, you'll hear that user initiated. He looks at the phone, at the text message he deprecated. It's now 12:32:09. Close the phone the last time. It will be the last time he uses that phone. From the waterfall bar, you see it.
What?
And at that time, 12:32:09, last user, he has 7 more seconds to move before he lied dormant the rest of the night. We'll also have the information from the defendant's.
Wait a minute. So did he really say that John O'Keefe got hit at 12:31 and 49 seconds, and then 20 seconds later he collapsed on the ground, and then but between them, in his last dying breath, he looked at his phone one more time? Is that really what he's saying right now? Because Trooper Paul would like to have a word. Trooper Paul claims that he fucking Superman that shit, and Christy Yamaguchi that motherfucker, and did like a triple Lutz and landed on his head. When does he? What the fuck? Oh, bro, bring it on. This is the big bad Hank I've been hearing about. This is, again, I've said it before and I'll say it again. No matter what theory you attempt to come up with, if you attempt to explain how John O'Keefe was hit by a car, you're gonna sound retarded. No matter what you say, this is just different shades of Plevin. That's all this is. Like, we all laughed at Plevin's stupid Sim City thing, but it was no more hilarious or less hilarious than Trooper Paul's theory, and apparently whatever the fuck this theory is now. Okay.
Lexus black box. The box one differently than 30-second clearance, but it's right in the heart of that time. And you will see in the data at that time, when he makes his last movements with the phone, is when her car leaves 34 feet at least, stops, neutral, and then shoots into reverse at the tire spinning right towards him. Right where he goes. You'll know they're arguing because the next morning she tells the firefighter, I'm sad because our last moments of the fight.
She told the firefighter that? What?
They said, she's made later statements that when she left, he didn't look mortally wounded. He lied on the ground on top of his phone, white dusting the snow now picking up. And he's just there. It's 12:37. Now, when he's in the car, before he gets to Fairview, the battery temperature of that phone is 77 degrees. 77 degrees in the one car.
Okay, so all right, so here we go. Now we're gonna get to the battery temperature. So it's 77 degrees. This is new information. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You want to go talk about battery temperature? Okay, fine. If that phone was outside from 12:30 to 6 o'clock, when that phone was retrieved at 6 o'clock, it should be 18 degrees. It should be the same temperature as the outside router, which means the phone would be shut off. And don't feed me this crock of shit about, oh, his body kept it warm like it's a fucking cocoon or some shit, like it's a kangaroo pouch. It's not how it works. Okay. First of all, his body would be frozen stiff by then too. He'd be dead. Stop it. So let's see what the temperature gets to the phone.
Drops to 70 degrees. She drives to his house. She makes a phone call at 12:33 after she's left there. She calls again at 12:36:33 and leaves a message. You'll hear it. And you will hear the anger and rage in her voice. She leaves a message. John, I fucking hate you. You will hear the simmering. When she leaves that message, he lies on the side of the road. He gets another text message. It's on the answer page. Where are you? 12:45. Battery temperature. 1 degree. Let's go. He gets almost 40 calls from the defendant that night. His phone rings, but never answers. You'll hear from an expert that the light never initiates. The healthcare data never moves. John alone was only again his phone. At 12:53, cell phone drops to almost 60 degrees. 12:59, the defendant leaves another message. My John.
So 60 degrees by 12:53. Okay.
Oh, now she hasn't spoken to anybody. Nobody has spoken to her. But her message. You'll learn the message says, John, nobody knows where you are. And this is where the plot in the cover-up begins. The evidence will make clear that she knew who was there. But she did not call 911. She did not go back to him. She did not leave an anonymous note. She left him. The night wears on. It's now 1:07. Battery temperature 55 degrees.
55, okay.
1:14, she calls her mother. No answer. 1:14:53. Battery temperature 50 degrees. The defendant had healthcare data on her phone as well, and we'll hear that it stops around that time.
So 50 degrees. Okay. So it should be continuing the drop, right? This bed, it's dropping fast. Within an hour, that phone temperature has gone from 80 degrees to 50 degrees. So if you do the math, it should be about at 30 degrees within less than an hour. Ooh, but something tells me, I don't know anything about this. I have certainly not seen this chart at all. Wouldn't that be crazy if the phone temperature doesn't go below 40? Like it should go way below 40, way below 40. But if it doesn't, what does that mean? Well, that would mean the phone is, I don't know, inside the fucking house, wouldn't it? Or maybe like what's a place in the house that the phone is, would drop, but not by that, but not go freezing. Like, I don't know. Okay, if it was inside the house, if it was in like the living room, then it would stay about 75 degrees, the phone, right? The basement heated, but I could think of one place with a phone. It's called a fucking garage, right? And if you put that phone in the garage for a while, but it would stay about, it probably doesn't get like as freezing as it does outside. So I'm just saying, I think the fucking phone was in the garage. I'm just saying. Go ahead, Spanky.
You later learn that she gets 2 o'clock, super fast now. But then she wakes. 5 o'clock, she is frantic. She wakes up John's niece, and she is unintelligible. She is yelling, she's screaming, she asks for the niece to call Jen McCabe. She calls Jen McCabe, and you'll hear Jen McCabe recount out of deep sleep. She wakes up and she hears, Jen, 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 screaming Jen's name. John's dead. Hang up the phone. Jen McCabe called back. And then she said, what's going on? And she said, well, I left him at the waterfall. Beginning of cover. She told Jen McCabe, I left him at the waterfall. Jen called back and says, you saw you up front. You did leave at the waterfall. She hangs up. She calls her and says, I think John left you by the plot. I think he's dead.
All right, we'll get to that.
I will help you look for him. And the defendant says, I was so drunk last night, I don't remember anything. Waiting for her to arrive, she learns she doesn't arrive. Instead, the defendant goes to Jen McCabe's house. Kerry Roberts, the other friend, then goes to.
Yeah, okay.
The defendant desperately wants to go to 34th Fairview Road. Kerry Roberts takes over and says, we're going to go back to John's house. Maybe he's in the house and you didn't see him. So both cars, driven by Kerry Roberts and then Jen McCabe, with the defendant, go back to John McCabe's house. You'll see a ring video.
Maybe he was in the house and you didn't see him. Who the fuck's bright idea was that? Now, Kerry, she might have been stupid enough to actually have an idea like that. Jen is stupider like a fox, though. That's like, she's doing that by design. Like he's gonna jump out of the closet and be like, surprise, bitches. I was here the whole time. I kept my shoes on, motherfucker. What? Trigger, what? How do you like them?
You see them go into the house and they look around and you'll hear about the woman, Jen and Kerry, enlisted into this task. Look for John O'Keefe, they cannot find him. And then when Kerry Roberts comes into a room, she sees, rather than looking, the defendant simply standing there, staring at the wall. At that point, the defendant insists they got to go back to Fairview Road. They decide to take one car. Kerry Roberts is taking charge. She's going to drive. They leave. This leaves Lexus and Jonathan's driveway, and they drive back towards 34th Fairview Road. There it is blizzard-like conditions. It is dark. They can barely see a thing. And when they get close to the edge of 34th Fairview, you hear the defendant start to scream, there he is. Both women look and they can't see anything. She starts kicking the door. The defendant's kicking the door. Let me out. Kerry Roberts stops the car and lets her out, and she sees the defendant run exactly to where John O'Keefe is in the darkness. That's where she left him. Kerry gets out of the car, starts to walk towards where the defendant is, and she sees the defendant lying on a body. She can't tell who it is because the face is still covered with snow. And
Okay,
there hits that cell phone battery. It drops from 50 to 43 degrees.
40. Wait.
And they tried.
Wait. Hold on.
One of the best friends in the world is John O'Keefe.
Hold on. So I want to hear this. This is at 6 o'clock in the morning now. What's the battery temperature?
And she starts to try to do first aid. They start to move him. And coincidentally, at 6:06, when they start to move him, the cold air hits that cell phone battery. It drops from 50 to 43 degrees.
43. It was 50 degrees. What? What? This fucking this fucking guy. Oh my God. This guy is proving Karen Reed's innocence for us. At 6 o'clock, the phone was still at 50 degrees, bro. It hit 43 was the lowest. Oh my God. That phone battery should have been 18 degrees by 6 o'clock, especially at the rate that it was falling. It was 50 degrees at like 1:30, he said. So it just stopped getting lower. It just stopped. Bro, he can't fuck around, find out, right? Catherine loved this. Is this the find out part? Or are we still at the fuck around part? That's what I want to know. Holy fucking retard. What a moron.
And they tried, then McCabe calls 911. And that's when a police officer arrives, firefighter Nuttall and his crew. And when they lift him, that cell phone battery that shut down to 37 degrees, Kerry Roberts picks it up and puts it in her pocket.
Oh, 37.
He starts to form, and she moves and helps get data, showing movement starts again.
Oh, okay.
At that point, nobody knows what happened. You can't the police department come. You can see the police cars and cruisers. They're not sure. So they look at the area where John's body is and find a glass.
So they're going to say that his body warmed it up. But how is he was out there. His body was also out there for 5.5 hours. What is he, a frog? Is he cold-blooded? What? So he can just... What? Are you kidding? Is he a polar bear? What is this guy, a seal? Seriously, dude.
From the bar, their body. They find blood spots. They find some blood spots in plastic containers. They don't know what they're looking for at this point. There's no information. They don't believe or know that there's a crime. They just know that John O'Keefe somehow ended up here with the broken glass and the blood. And so that morning, you can see the work.
He's a fucking penguin. I know.
Very little. And then Kerry Roberts goes and picks up Peggy O'Keefe. Tells her the news, and they go to the hospital.
I know.
They go to the Good Samaritan Hospital, and Kerry Roberts is walking, and Peggy O'Keefe is going to go see her son, her husband. And as she walks down the hall, Karen Reed is also in the hospital. See, there was some reports of maybe she was upset or suicidal, so they sectioned her. They put her in for evaluation to make sure she was safe. You'll hear Peggy O'Keefe tell her she walked down the hall, go see her son. The defendant was screaming, "Is he dead? Is he dead?" And she walked by Karen Reed. She stopped and she said, "Karen, what happened?" And you'll hear that Karen was excited and yelling, "Is he dead?" Stopped her side and kept going. Doesn't say a word. Peggy pays respects to her son. And then she has to go back home. She has to tell
I mean, everything about this is such a weak case because everything he's saying, 95% of the things that he's saying up here is like hearsay about like what Karen Reed said. Ooh, she said this, and she was stoic, and she was like that, and she was in the house, and she was just saying this. It's like she said this, and then 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 she said this. They don't actually have a case. They're just like, everything is just like, here's things she said. That's 95% of their cases, like things that she said. And that's how they're going to prove she did it. Like,
now, while she's out, the police department sent an officer to the house to make sure the children are safe because they're alone at their home. And when the officer pulls in, he doesn't notice anything, but you'll see in the dash cam video, notices something. That tail light has a big missing piece to it. They can't find the children. Ultimately, Peggy comes home, a friend has taken them, and they bring the nephew home, and he is distraught. And then Peggy hears a knock on the door. It is the defendant and her father. They want to come in. They come in. No one goes. And they ask them to go upstairs to John's room. And she's busy consoling her grandson. They go upstairs. They're upstairs for about 15 minutes. They come down. Quickly they leave. Now they got there from the defendant's brother drove his wife and the father to that house. But when they leave, they take two cars. They take the Lexus with broken tail light with them back to the defendant's father's house. And you will learn that when police start getting some of the information, they learn about the broken tail light, they learn information that she had told people that she had hit him. They went down to see her. And on the way down, they decided they would get a warrant to take the Lexus. When they get down to Dayton, where the car is, you'll hear from Trooper Buchanan.
Oh.
They went in and spoke briefly to
Wait. Oh, I missed this part. You'll hear from Trooper Buchanan. Did I hear you'll hear from Trooper Proctor? Did I hear that? Hold on.
When they get down to Dayton, where the car is, you'll hear from Trooper Buchanan. Took a look and see them.
What did he say there? You'll take a look? What? I didn't hear Trooper Proctor mentioned there. That's interesting. Very interesting.
They went in and spoke briefly to the defendant. They took the car and brought it back to Kearney. And so what they learned from the forensic evidence of the science and data is that not only was the cell phone left behind, but also around that area, broken tail light was littered around Dono's body.
Oh, really?
Littered around that area. When they got to the hospital, they noticed there was a shoe missing. As time went by, snow melted. They dug the excavations. They found the shoe on a little berm on the border between the street and the grass. We learned days later when they did the plant excavation, they found this pack frozen to the ground. Ultimately, they would find over the course of 10 days, it still melted almost all every piece of that broken tail light in that area. This hat, the sneaker, the glass. When the defendant left Mr. O'Keefe behind, to look for something in Mr. O'Keefe called trace evidence. You'll learn on the back of her Lexus, around the taillight area, is John's DNA, and stuck to the side, grasping one last piece of John O'Keefe's hair.
The hair.
Now, John O'Keefe fell backwards and hit his head after he was clipped by the car. And you're going to hear from a very renowned doctor, a neurosurgeon, who's treated thousands and thousands of injuries. And the wound on the back of the head, when he fell backwards, another cracked skull, another facial fracture, it created an injury called countercoup. After he was hit by a car and fell backwards and hit his head on that hard rock ground, remember there's no snow, just a dusty at this point, the back of his brain hits the back of the skull and bounces up. When it bounces up, it leaves marks showing that impact.
Oh, right.
And this neurosurgeon will tell you, treated thousands of patients, that this injury, with reasonable degree of medical certainty, is countercoup caused by falling backwards and hitting the head.
Oh.
When the medical examiner for the state looked at it, they generally said blunt force trauma had it undetermined. So we brought it to the renowned neurosurgeon who tells us exactly this. You're also going to hear from an active reconstruction team, Doug Welch. Does not work with the state police or local police. He was hired to take a look at this case and the data. They will come in and explain to you exactly what I talked about, how the data from that black box coincides with the cell phone and the movements of the car, the moments before, during, and after the defendant struck John O'Keefe with their car. Now, just a few more things I want to share with you. There are 3 charges against the defendant in this case.
I know.
First one, second-degree murder.
It's like the ground was hard as a rock. It was fucking so frozen. It's like a fucking ice skating rink. So the ground is so fucking hard that he hit his head on it. And you would think that, okay, if your head smashed down on ice, you get like a bump, right? Or like a big bruise. Maybe like some sort of like burn or some shit like that. Like John O'Keefe had like fucking lead pipe in the conservatory shit. Like it's a boom, or hitting the side of a stair, or hitting the fucking bench press, something like that. It's just such an obvious, like, bam, got hit with the back of the head with something. It's so obvious. It would not look like that. Oh my God. He can't believe this shit, can he? Oh yeah. And if it's that cold and that hard, okay, it's fucking frozen. Then why is the phone not at 18 degrees? Oh my God.
Or I will start to unlock. I'm not going to travel in that area, but I can tell you clearly, we are not going to try to prove that Karen Reed tried to kill John O'Keefe. We're not going to try to prove to you that she intended or wanted him dead. That's not second-degree murder. What we'll prove to you is she engaged in an intentional act, driving back at him at that speed in the storm, in the darkness, knowing that he was just gotten out of her Lexus. She intended that act, which would cause the plane, the strong likelihood of death. That's what we'll prove to you, second-degree murder. Also, operating under the influence of alcohol, manslaughter will prove to you that she drove her Lexus recklessly. She hit John O'Keefe, and because she hit him, he fell back, she caused his death. The third charge is the scene after knowingly causing death. Again, she hit Mr. O'Keefe with a car. She knew he was injured. She left him behind. Memory loss, it doesn't suffer from emotion, pride, or prejudice. It It is facts. It is data.
All
And
right.
that facts and data will lead you to the truth in this case. But after Ms. Reed was charged, she began what you'll learn as a campaign to make public statements. 2020 guideline, Box 25, a documentary. And we've had an opportunity to get many of her statements and footage, and we're going to show much of you. And her statements to you will confirm what you already know from the science and data, which you will already conclude from the facts independent about what she did that night. Her word is simply confirmed that they are judging the sound. And you're going to hear from her own lips in many of her statements, her admissions to extraordinary intoxications, her admissions to driving the Alexis, her admissions to being angry at dawn that night. We should start.
So here we go.
I mean, I didn't think I hit him, but could I have clipped him? Could I have tagged him in the knee and incapacitated him? He didn't look mortally wounded as far as I could see, but could I have done something that knocked him out and in his drunkenness and in the cold didn't come to again?
And this would have been the moment you dropped him off at the party.
Yeah, would have had to.
Like what? So okay. They play the. I've seen the trolls on Twitter point this out. They're like, why did she say that he looked mortally wounded? He looked mortally wounded. He did not look mortally wounded at 6 a.m. when she found him, because he was on his back. She didn't get to see the back of his head. So he did not look mortally wounded when she found him. Not at 12:30, as Hank is implying here. Again, listen very carefully to what she says here. This does not prove what they think it does.
In drunkenness, and he didn't look mortally wounded. I didn't think I hit him, but could I have clipped him? Could I have tagged him in the knee and
So she's thinking that she's telling Dennis Murphy. What the hell's his name? Dennis. I forget his name. Is it? She's telling this guy, Dennis, that what she was initially thinking that morning. Like, how did he get here? Could I have clipped him? Like, she's thinking the worst. How did he get here? She's not thinking that, like, oh yeah, they beat the shit out of him and left him to die out in the cold, because who could ever be that evil? She had no idea the evil that she was facing.
incapacitated him. He didn't look mortally wounded as far as I could see, but could I have done something that knocked him out and in his drunkenness and in the cold didn't come to again?
So he look, I thought that he looked mortally wounded. He didn't look mortally wounded, but could I have done something? Did he just she's thinking out loud. Could I? And now listen to what he asks.
This would have been the moment you dropped him off at the party.
Yeah, would have had to.
This would have been the moment you dropped him off at the party that she would have clipped him. That would have been the moment. Not when I looked. The moment I dropped him off there is not when he looked mortally wounded. That's when I would have clipped him. Again, these are just thoughts going through his head. Again, she should shut up. She should not talk. This is doing herself no good that we have to explain this. We know what she's saying. Okay. We all know what she's saying. We get it. It's just fucking like common sense tells you that she's not going on Dateline and confessing to this. Karen Reed is a very smart person. Too smart, I would argue, for her own good. Right? That she has this desire. Like, imagine being her and knowing that you're innocent and you just want to tell the whole fucking world about it. But you got to be careful, because there's bad faith actors out there who are going to take everything you say out of context and do this to this. You know what I mean? Let us do that. You know, like that's what I said. Let other people do that for you. She's very lucky that she has this army of people that is willing to speak up for her. She don't need to talk. She doesn't need to talk. So that's what I would hope, that if she would go back and do it again, that's one thing she would do differently, is just let other people do the talking for her. Just saying. Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, I simply ask you to follow the evidence, follow the science, follow the data. Ignore speculation, surmise, conjecture. Stay true to the evidence. It will lead you to the truth. that on January 29th, 2022, a very intoxicated defendant was angry and arguing about a lifetime of help, was left at the corner of that yard, left to die with no help.
Can I have just a moment to readjust?
Sure, they could have.
All
3
right.
points.
All right. So time to fuck. Like I said, I've seen Alan Jackson many times before. I have never seen him as good as he was today. Let's watch it.
Mayor, the evidence in this case will establish above everything else 3 points. There was no collision with John O'Keefe.
Boom.
There was no collision. There was no collision.
There was no collision.
John O'Keefe did not die from being hit by a vehicle, period. The facts will show that. The evidence will show that. The data will show that. The science will show that. And the experts will tell you that. You'll learn that the Commonwealth has pinned its entire case on a brazen and a flawed assertion that is untethered, unconnected to the facts and to the evidence. And their assertion is contrary to science. Because at the end of the day, folks, there was no collision with John O'Keefe. So how did we end up here? How does Karen Reed end up sitting in that chair on trial for something, for an event that literally never happened? Well, the evidence is going to explain it. And it can be summed up in the following text message at the very beginning of this investigation. A text message of a now fired Massachusetts State Police officer named Michael Proctor. He was the lead investigator on this case. And he was talking about a fellow officer, a fellow cop who owned the property where John O'Keefe's body was found. Text message with a buddy. Question, is the homeowner going to catch any shit? Answer, nope. He's a Boston cop too. That quote defines the lack of integrity of the Commonwealth's entire case, its entire investigation, and this prosecution. During the course of this trial, you'll learn much more about Mr. Proctor. Why he
So I like it. Like, so he didn't come out and say there's this huge conspiracy. They used lured into the basement. They beat him up. He did not do anything. He's just like, there was no collision. There was no collision. There was no collision. It's a faulty investigation. Okay. It was, and the most important text message you're going to hear from all the Proctor ones is the one where he said that the homeowner is not going to catch any shit because he's a Boston cop, period. That is the tunnel vision that they went in with. That is why this investigation was so faulty, because they were not, the homeowner was not going to catch any shit. Karen Reed was going to catch shit, period.
He said that and what it really means. What you'll see and hear in this courtroom in the coming weeks is not just a story of a tragic loss. And make no mistake, John O'Keefe's death is and was a tragic and tragic loss. But the story you'll hear is about an investigation that was riddled with errors from the beginning, a rush to judgment, conflicted and corrupted from the start, corrupted by bias, corrupted by incompetence, and corrupted by deceit. Finally, it was corrupted by a deliberate effort to avoid and to cover up the very truth that you are seeking. You'll find when you hear the evidence that the Commonwealth's case is the literal definition of reasonable doubt. They won't be able to talk their way out of it. They won't be able to explain their way out of it. They won't be able to excuse their way out of it. And they can't meet their extreme burden of proof, which the court will tell you is beyond any and all reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty. Members of the jury, Karen Reed found John O'Keefe dead on the front lawn of a Boston police officer, Brian Albert, at 6 a.m. on January 29th, 2022. Picture the scene. Blood-curdling screams, ambulances, emergency lights on, fire engines, ladder trucks, paramedics, patrol vehicles, patrol cruisers, police officers, first responders, firefighters, all swarming all over Brian Albert's lawn, literally feet under his bedroom window. Yet Brian Albert, a sworn peace officer, a first responder himself, never came outside. Never went outside to see what the chaos was about, never went outside to see if he could assist a man in need, never walked outside his house to see if he could help a fallen fellow officer on his own front lawn. More shockingly, you'll learn that lead investigator for the Massachusetts police, Michael Proctor, never set foot inside Brian Albert's house that day. Never engaged in any investigation inside that house that day, even though a party with much alcohol had just occurred in that house, and even though a Boston police officer was found dead or dying just mere feet from the front door on that lawn. He never secured the crime scene, never separated and secured witnesses. He never properly collected evidence. He never secured the evidence. He never searched for signs of a struggle inside or outside the home. He never properly canvassed the neighborhood. Michael Proctor never did any of these things, even though fellow officers of his, of Michael Proctor's, actually mentioned, in their words, not mine, that it looked like John O'Keefe may have been, quote, in a fight. You'll have questions about that conduct. During the course of this trial, you'll find that the Commonwealth will not have answers. You'll see from the evidence in this case that this case carries a malignancy, one that is spread through the investigation, it's spread through the prosecution from the very start, from the jump. A cancer that cannot be cut out, a cancer that cannot be cured. And that cancer has a name. His name is Michael Proctor.
Yes.
And you didn't hear his name.
That cancer has
in the prosecution's
a name.
opening statement.
Oh, no.
Not once.
Not once.
I suspect that was probably by design.
Mm-hmm.
But make no mistake about it. The evidence will show in this case that Michael Proctor is the very definition of the Commonwealth's case.
Yes, he is. Yes,
and he's also
he
their
is.
Achilles heel.
Ooh.
He was the lead investigator on the case officer, the architect of the entire prosecution. You'll learn there's not a single part of this case, folks, not a single part that he didn't touch, that he didn't direct, that he didn't orchestrate personally. Every single bit of it has his fingerprints on it.
I love it. I love it. He sensed weakness. He's like, this motherfucker did not even mention Proctor in his opening. Now, he had this speech written out ahead of time, and he knew, which means that he knew. It's in his binder. He's reading off of a fucking script. He knows that he knew that Hank was not going to even have the balls to mention him. Didn't even have the balls to mention him. He's like, because this is different from last trial. Proctor was not fired before the last trial. And he was, as he's going to point out, it's because of this case that he's fired.
You'll learn that Michael Proctor was a longtime family friend of the Alberts.
Mm.
And he's been disgraced by his own agency, not by us, by the Massachusetts State Police.
Ooh.
Investigated, suspended, and fired.
Fired.
The evidence will show that Massachusetts State Police found him guilty, found Michael Proctor guilty of bringing dishonor to the department for his conduct, not in some other case, not in some tangential case, in this case. The investigation of Karen Reed. Conduct that included bias in favor of his friends, the all-powerful Albert family, and bias against my client, Miss Reed, the outsider. Do you have any idea how hard it is for a state trooper to get fired? The evidence is going to show that Michael Proctor
Yes, I love that.
every bit of it.
I love that. Like, that's such a good. Do you ever know how hard? I was laughing about this with Howie today. Do you understand how hard it is to get fired as a state trooper, bro? Like, you gotta steal all the overtime. They hired Leah Genduso, a drug dealer. Dan Ristine didn't get fired. He was involved in the Tim Murray cover-up. He was involved in the Leah Genduso scandal. He was involved in fucking everything. The Ali Bebo scandal. He got a golden parachute. Makes more money now than he did before. Nobody gets fired. Proctor is the only state trooper, I swear to God, who's not in jail, who ended up destitute. That's fucking hard. You got to be really, really, really bad and corrupt at your job to do that.
You'll hear that within hours of a Boston police officer being found dead on Brian Albert's lawn, Michael Proctor, the lead investigator, who'd investigated exactly nothing up to this point, right at the beginning, made an early pronouncement that Brian Albert himself was not going to, quote, catch any shit, end quote. And that was for one reason and one reason only. He's a Boston cop.
Yep.
The evidence will show that Michael Proctor made this statement in a text conversation with his high school buddies, a text he never thought would see the light of day, certainly never thought we would get a hold of. And when he thought no one was looking, he actually said the quiet part out loud. He's a cop too. We'll give him a pass. You'll learn that in Michael Proctor's world, rank has its privileges. The evidence will show that's privileges that you don't get and I don't get. But apparently a Boston police officer, Brian Albert, and his friends,
privileges,
they do get. You'll learn that in Michael Proctor's world, he didn't care about finding the truth. In his world, his priority was to protect the brotherhood, to protect that blue wall, to protect his friends who were at the Albert's house that night. I want to take a step back, if I could, and spend the next few minutes talking a little bit more detail about what the actual facts in this case will show, not based on speculation, not based on surmise, not based on guesswork or conjecture, but the actual true facts that you will learn through the course of this trial. On January 28th, 2022, it was a Friday night. John and Karen had made plans to meet up with friends for drinks. It was a happy and normal night for them. They were affectionate, they were loving, they were in good spirits, nothing out of the ordinary. They started a local watering hole called C.F. McCarthy's. You've heard that name before and you'll hear it again. And eventually they made their way over to the Waterfall Bar and Grill, another bar where they ended up. When they got to the Waterfall Bar and Grill, the Albert family was already there, already heavily drinking. You'll learn that this was no ordinary family, the Alberts. The Albert family was a well-known Canton family. Some might even describe them as a very powerful Canton family. Brian Albert was there at the Waterfall. You'll hear that he's a longtime Boston police officer. His wife, Nicole Albert, was there with him. His brother, Chris Albert, a powerful Canton politician. He sits on the select board. The select board actually governs the police department, the Canton PD.
I love it.
He was there. His wife, Julie Albert, was there. Their daughter, Caitlin Albert, was there. His sister-in-law, Jennifer McCabe.
It's just so different this time around. It's just like showing, instead of like, notice no Colin Albert that he's mentioning. Like, I think he realizes that, like, that's just, he thinks Colin Albert did it. I think Colin Albert did it, but that's a tougher sell, right? And Auntie Bev said you can't bring that up. So, like, let's talk about the political power that these people have. He's a selectman in town. He's in charge of the police. Brian Albert. Why is Brian Albert getting a pass? Not because he's a McAlbert, but because he's a cop. Like that, it's just he's going with that whole thing as opposed to the McAlberts are fucking King Kong of Canton. You know, like that because Michael Proctor was Colin Albert was in Michael Proctor's sister's wedding. He's not doing that. He's doing the whole like, because that's undeniable that Chris Albert is a selectman. It is.
Was there. Her husband, Matt McKay, was also there. They were all there drinking before John and before Karen ever arrived. You'll learn that a man by the name of Brian Higgins, also a law enforcement officer and longtime friend, longtime pal of Brian Albert, he was also there. And the two of them, the two Brians, had been drinking most of the night together. You'll see video footage from the waterfall, which will show you that Karen and John were happy. They were affectionate. They were caring. They were loving. Just business as usual, out on a date on a Friday night. But that exact same video footage which lead investigator Michael Proctor plainly chose to ignore that video footage. It paints a very different picture of Brian Higgins. You'll learn that Higgins had romantic designs for Karen. That becomes important. Brian Higgins had engaged Karen in flirtatious texts, but days earlier she had put a stop to it. She had ghosted him, in common parlance.
Ghosted.
Just ignored him. The evidence will show that the first time he saw her and was in her presence after being rejected by her was when she walked into the Waterfall Bar and Grill along with her boyfriend, John O'Keefe. At 11:58 p.m., just minutes before John ultimately arrived at the Albert residence, you'll see a video at the Waterfall of an unsettling interaction, troubling interaction between Brian Higgins and John O'Keefe.
Call JFK. Call
Michael Proctor, in this
JFK.
case, you won't ignore that evidence.
Ooh.
As the bar was closing around 12 midnight, the Alberts invited everybody back to their house for a get-together, just keep the night going. And you'll learn that Karen and John ultimately pulled up to the house. They got out of the SUV to make sure they had the right address. You see, neither John nor Karen had ever been to 34 Fairview. They weren't even sure they were the right address. And the evidence will establish that John got out of the SUV and went into the house. Let me say that again. The facts unequivocally, the data, the science, the witnesses will all unequivocally establish that John O'Keefe went into the Albert home that night. Eyewitnesses and forensic data will establish that fact. When he didn't come back out, you'll learn that Karen grew increasingly frustrated.
So again, he's not saying he went in there and they lured him into the basement. He went in. That's what I've been saying. You just put him in the house. That's it. Put him in the house and it's no longer Karen Reed's problem. It's someone else's problem. You guys can figure that shit out later. What happened inside that house. All I know is he went in so Karen Reed couldn't have done it. Period. End of story. Time to go home. See you later.
She got upset. She was left alone in a car in the cold in the middle of the night with the car idling. John had gone into the house. She expected him to come right back out. And when he didn't, seconds turned into minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And minutes started to clock away. She left John a voicemail, then another voicemail, voicemail after voicemail after voicemail, text messages. But he was unresponsive. He didn't pick up a single call. He didn't respond to a single text. The longer he didn't respond, the more upset she got. The Commonwealth will intimate, as they already have in their opening statement, that these voicemails are evidence that the two were fighting. The actual evidence in this case, however, will show the exact opposite. You'll hear that Karen was very agitated. You'll hear some voicemails where she's swearing. You'll hear voicemails where she calls him names. There's name calling.
Oh, yeah.
But you'll also hear the context of those voicemails. And every single one of those voicemails was left for John after he failed to come back out of the house, after he failed to respond to her voicemails and to her texts. Karen believed John had just left her sitting there, grabbed a beer, was partying with his friends. The evidence will actually show that John and Karen never had a crossword, not a single crossword that entire evening before he left that SUV.
No
and went inside the
crosswords.
house.
Nope.
And you will learn what Karen had absolutely no way of knowing at the time. It wasn't that he wouldn't respond to her. It's that he couldn't respond to her. And the evidence will show you why. Let's talk about that.
Why?
We'll introduce you to a doctor named Elizabeth Loposada.
Oh, here we go.
A renowned forensic pathologist, a medical examiner, and a professor at Brown University. She will tell you that the injury to the back of John's head, first of all, was immediately incapacitating. And that has meaning. At the moment he suffered that fatal head injury, he couldn't walk, talk, grab his phone, cry for help, nothing. He was completely incapacitated.
That's new. That the medical examiner is going to say that the blow to the back of the head immediately incapacitated him. That was not introduced at last trial, right? Immediately incapacitated him. It knocked his ass out. Done. He couldn't do anything. He was out. What else?
Completely unconscious from the moment he suffered that injury. He was completely still and incapable of interacting with anyone or anything. But the doctor will tell you something more, and just as important. She'll tell you that John O'Keefe did not suffer from hypothermia, as the Commonwealth will undoubtedly allege. His body showed no signs of it. No frostbite, no cold-induced injuries to his organs, no damage based on cold or frost. Ladies and gentlemen, the scientific evidence and the medical evidence will establish that John O'Keefe had to be injured somewhere else, somewhere warmer, and his body had to have been moved out into the cold. And that's where, ultimately at 6 a.m., Karen found him the next morning.
No hypothermia,
You will learn
baby.
that John did not have a single injury consistent with being hit by a car. Let
None.
me say that again. The evidence will establish that John did not suffer a single injury on his body consistent with having been hit by a car. Not one. You'll learn that John's torso, his ribs, his chest, his arms, his hips, his legs, his knees, his ankles, his feet, all of it. No broken bones, no
None.
fractures, no contusions, no torn ligaments, no internal injuries, not even a bruise.
Nope. Nothing.
Nothing consistent with a car accident, despite the Commonwealth's contention that he was slammed into by a 6,000-pound SUV. Not a bruise.
Not a bruise.
Dr. Laposada will tell you with medical certainty that, in fact, John was not struck by a vehicle. Medically and scientifically, he could not have been struck by a vehicle. Therefore, as I said, there was no collision. She will tell you that the patterned abrasions on John's right arm, the patterned abrasions you see over my left shoulder, they're not the result of being struck by a car or a taillight. You'll take one look at these injuries and you'll agree with Dr. Laposada. The evidence will show that these injuries are from an animal, like a large dog, like the large dog that was inside the Albert house that night. You'll learn that Brian Albert has actually admitted
Look at that
his
shit.
large dog, the family dog, is, quote, not good with strangers. And of course, John, never having been to the house before.
And by the way, how impressive was this that he had to do an audible and not mention ARCA in his fucking opening over some bullshit, over a fucking, I mean, just her bullshit with this whole thing. Oh my God, with the ARCA thing. But the fact that he points up to that, like, look at that is such a powerful picture. The arm. Just look at that. You guys aren't stupid, right? That did not come from a fucking taillight.
Was a stranger that night. You'll also learn that oddly, very oddly, after having their family pet for 7 years, a short time after this incident, the Alberts got rid of that dog. They called it rehoming her.
Oh, yeah.
But she was gone.
Ooh, gone.
Dr. Laposada will also tell you that the injury to John's head was not the result of falling backward onto a flat lawn, cold or otherwise. Rather, Dr. Laposada will tell you with medical certainty that the injury pattern to his scalp was produced by an impact from a raised or ledged surface, a surface that does not exist on Brian Albert's front lawn where John was found. The medical evidence will establish no hypothermia, no injuries from a car strike, no collision with a motor vehicle.
None.
And forensic analysis of John's cell phone, Mr. Brennan mentioned that in his opening statement. The Commonwealth's own expert will ultimately support the exact facts that I just told you, including the temperature data. John O'Keefe was injured someplace warmer, and he was moved. That alone is reasonable doubt, but there's much more. You'll also learn that there were many people at that after-hours gathering at Brian Albert's house who would have left by the front door just feet from where John O'Keefe's body would have ultimately been.
How many saw
had
it?
he actually been there?
How many
right
saw
after
it?
12:30 a.m., which is what the Commonwealth's claim is.
Really?
There were nearly a dozen people who walked out that front door directly adjacent to this the precise spot where John
Wow.
O'Keefe would have been lying. Not a single person, not one.
Really?
Not a single person.
Not
saw
one.
a 6'2", 216-pound man
Wow.
lying sprawled in the front lawn in dark clothing on a light white dusting of snow.
Well, was there peanut butter sandwiches though? Because that changes everything. You throw a couple PB&Js in there and you just don't see dead bodies. You might see a black blob, but you're just so fucked up from the PB&J that it's just hard to see it. It's just, you wouldn't understand. It's a Kearney thing. Go ahead.
Then the evidence will also show that every one of those same people drove by that same spot, not walked by it, drove by it to leave the house, and still not one of them saw John laying in the yard when they left between 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. in the morning. But you know who else you'll find never saw a body on that lawn? The snowplow driver.
Oh, yeah.
A completely independent witness charged with plowing the streets in Canton that night. You'll hear that Michael Proctor, he's not done yet. Mr. Proctor. You'll hear that Michael Proctor wrote a report where he claimed that Fairview had not been plowed that night. You'll learn that that was completely false. That was a lie. What? Michael Proctor did not want any more witnesses. He didn't want the truth. And he falsely claimed that the road was never plowed. You'll learn that he wouldn't look for the plow driver, but we did.
Oh.
And we found, and we'll introduce you to, Brian Loughran.
Oh, you're going to like
he
him.
plowed Fairview that night, and what he's going to tell you is that there was no body on that lawn at 2:30 in the morning. You'll learn that Brian Loughran passed by 34 Fairview, traveling right next to Brian Albert's front yard, And at 2:30 a.m., John O'Keefe was not there. But you'll see that the plow driver also provides some other troubling information, troubling testimony for the Commonwealth. You'll learn that after making that pass at 2:30 a.m., he showed up with his plow an hour later. He stopped at the entrance of Fairview. He was looking up Fairview to decide whether or not to plow it, but he saw an obstruction. At 3:30 a.m., he looked down the street, and in the very spot precisely where Karen would later find John's body laying at 6 a.m., there was a car parked in front of it, a Ford Edge. You're going to ask yourself, who's moving the car at 3:30 in the morning into a blizzard on the side of the road? You'll learn that Michael Proctor, the lead investigator, intentionally ignored this fact as well. He did no investigation to find out who owned a Ford Edge, but again,
none.
We did.
Ooh,
and the evidence will establish that the Ford Edge happens to be a favorite model of the Albert family.
Ooh,
more than one Albert owned a Ford Edge at the time.
Interesting.
You'll learn that those facts will add to the mounting and the overwhelming evidence that there was no collision and John O'Keefe's body was moved onto that lawn. You'll find that this is yet additional reasonable doubt in the case. You'll be introduced to science and physics, even from the Commonwealth's own experts. That science will establish that Karen Reed's SUV was not damaged by hitting a pedestrian, and conversely, John O'Keefe's injuries did not come from being struck by a vehicle.
Did not come from being struck by
the Commonwealth mentioned triggering events. But what you'll actually learn from the experts, some of them the Commonwealth's own experts, is that a triggering event is not evidence of an accident. It does not evidence a collision. That's why we're here.
No collision.
And there's no evidence of one.
Zero. None.
You'll also find that those exact sort of triggering events that the Commonwealth will rely on are relatively commonplace on Karen's SUV, and none of them are associated with a claim of a collision.
None of them.
Folks, the science will not lie, and the physics cannot lie. And that science will tell you with certainty there was no collision with John O'Keefe. You'll add that to that rising mountain of reasonable doubt.
Reasonable doubt.
The night in question,
Reasonable
January
doubt.
29th, for just
no
a few minutes.
collision.
Remember, Karen had gone home after dropping off John and John walking to the house. While Karen was asleep at home with John's 13-year-old niece, what were the people who had been at Brian Albert's house that night? What were they doing?
I don't know. You tell me.
While she slept, what you'll find and what the evidence will show is that they were extremely busy. You'll learn that after a long night of heavy drinking, Brian Higgins left the Albert residence, but he didn't drive home. Rather, he drove over to the Kenton Police Department, where he kept an office at about 1:25 a.m. Not a Kenton police officer, but he kept an office there. Why go back to his office at 1:25 a.m.? Why go back to the Kenton Police Department at 1:25 in the morning on the night of a blizzard? You'll learn that while there, Higgins made a call at 1:30 a.m. Higgins will later deny that he made that call. You'll find that curious. And his explanation for that late night visit to Kenton PD, you'll find that it changes nearly every time he's asked about it. You'll learn that after everyone left Brian Albert's house, Brian Albert actually claimed he had no contact with anybody else except his wife. No contact. Until he woke up the next morning. So he says. Then you'll learn that that too is a complete lie. His phone records establish that he placed a call to none other than Brian Higgins at 2:22 a.m. Shortly after Higgins completed that late night visit over to Kenton PD.
Interesting.
You'll wonder, what did they possibly need to talk about at 2:22 a.m. that night? The evidence will establish that.
But it's just like, I like how he's not saying it. I feel like old AJ would have been like plenty of time for him to say, hey, get over here and let's help get rid of a body. But new AJ is just like, that's fucking shady. Just throwing out like, that's shady. Why are they doing this? Why? You tell me. That's if you're wondering why, that's reasonable doubt. And he keeps saying reasonable doubt. He keeps saying no collision. He's not outright. Old AJ would have had this whole thing. He's big on like telling you exactly what he think happened inside the house. New AJ is just like talking about how shady these people are, and there's no collision. Remember, there's no collision, and they're shady, and they're powerful, and they're well connected. So take from that what you will. It's a lot more reasonable doubt. Like, you don't have to take the next leap and be like, well, yeah, that's what fucking happened. They must have kicked the shit out of him, the three of them, and then thrown him out there. You don't have to do that. You just have to think that might have happened. You know, there's a possibility.
Brian Albert called Brian Higgins first. Brian Albert then disconnected that call when Higgins didn't answer it. Seconds later, Brian Higgins returned the call. Brian Albert then did answer that call. They spoke for 22 full seconds, had a conversation, then they both hung up their respective phones. You'll learn that when they were asked about these calls in conversations, both Brian Albert and Brian Higgins lied about it. Both of them. They said they never had a call with each other. But then ultimately, when they were confronted with their own cell phone records and they could no longer deny the calls, they were asked independently, explain yourself. And they both came up with the exact same explanation. A butt dial. The evidence will make you question, why did Albert and Higgins speak at 2:22 a.m.? And why did they both try to cover up that phone call? You'll also learn after this incident and within days of one another, both Brian Higgins and Brian Albert, both police officers, both trained investigators, got rid of their phones. Both of them. And what else you'll learn Brian Albert got rid of? Shortly after this incident, Brian Albert got rid of his house, the whole thing.
Oh,
just sold it.
Oh,
his childhood home, a home that had been in the Albert family for generations. He literally sold it mere months after this incident.
The fuck?
Dog rehomed, phones destroyed, house sold. You'll learn that all these things happened shortly after the incident where John O'Keefe was found unresponsive and dying in Brian Albert's front lawn. And you'll also learn that Michael Proctor looked the other way. He did not investigate any of what I'm telling you. He pre-selected Karen Reed from the start, and he ignored everything and everyone else. Let's get back to what was happening with the others while Karen slept.
Again, hit Michael
What you'll learn
Proctor.
during this trial is that Brian Albert's sister-in-law, you've heard her name before, Jennifer McCabe. She was at the waterfall that night, and she was over at the Alberts' house that evening as well. She left the after-hours gathering about.
And this is a good question. How attentive were the jurors? Very, very attentive. But they were also attentive for Spanky. I mean, this is the beginning. It's really easy to be attentive during the beginning. What are you going to start doing during, like there's some testimony, like the Mike Camerano shit, the Kurt Robert, that's the Sleepy Days shit. That's what's just like, oh, okay. But again, it's no Lally makes a big difference. Hank is not going to put you to sleep. That's the only good thing I'll say about him.
2 a.m., a little before 2 a.m., about home around 2 a.m. And you'll learn that according to the Commonwealth's own evidence from a forensic software program called Physical Analyzer made by Celebrite, it's considered the gold standard for forensic tools. You'll learn that a Google search was discovered on Jennifer McCabe's phone.
Ooh, that's suspicious.
A Google search that Michael Proctor and his investigators never revealed to us.
Ooh, interesting.
But we found anyway. A Google search that was time-stamped, according to their own data, at 2:27 a.m. 5 minutes after that 2:22 a.m. call that Higgins and Albert denied having. And that Google search on Jennifer McCabe's phone read, Hoslong to die in cold. Hoslong to die in cold. Now, she misspelled the first word. Hos is supposed to be how, but the meaning's the same. How long does it take to die in the cold? Time-stamped, 2:27. And then that search was also noted by the same Celebrite program as having been deleted. The evidence will force you to ask, why is there a search on her phone? Why is it logged at 2:27 a.m.? When the Commonwealth claims that she first learned of John's death and where his body was hours later at 6 a.m. So what you'll learn is that while Karen slept, here's what was actually happening by some other very busy bees. 1:25 a.m., Brian Higgins makes an unexpected visit to Canton PD. 1:30 a.m., he makes a phone call that he later denies ever making. At 2:22 a.m., Brian Higgins and Brian Albert talk. They both deny and lie about having made that phone call. 2:27 a.m., 5 minutes later, a Google search appears on Jennifer McCabe's phone, Hoslong to die in cold, hours before John's body was ever discovered. A Google search she denies making, and that she later, or at least it was later logged as deleted. Meanwhile, at 2:30 a.m., the plow driver confirms that O'Keefe's body was not on the lawn of Brian Albert's house, not at 2:30 in the morning. And at 3:30 in the morning, that area was obstructed by a Ford Edge like the one the Albert family liked to own. The evidence will show in the meantime, Karen dozed in and out of a fitful sleep for the rest of the night, only to awaken just before 5 a.m. And that's when she realized, in a panic, John had never come home. And you'll see, it wasn't like John to not come home. That morning, you'll see and hear evidence that Karen's emotions had morphed. It'd gone from frustration and anger, which you'll hear in the voicemails, to abject fear. Fear that something bad had happened. The evidence will establish by this time, Karen was panic-stricken. She had a feeling something was very, very wrong. She was unable to get a hold of John. Karen went to go look for him. She got in her Lexus, and she backed up to leave her garage at One Meadows. You'll hear a lot about that address, One Meadows. That was John's house where Karen was staying. She backed out of the garage, and during the course of the trial, you'll hear that she actually struck another car with that right rear taillight. During the course of this trial, the Commonwealth is going to desperately claim that Karen Reed's taillight was actually damaged by hitting John O'Keefe. They'll have no evidence of it, mind you, none. But they'll make the claim. We'll show you a video of exactly how that taillight was originally damaged.
Ooh,
or exactly what happened at 5:07 in the morning. The facts will show that it was damaged in John's own driveway at 5:07 when Karen backed up and made contact with another car in the driveway. This is 5 hours after she dropped John off.
After.
And he went into the Albert residence. As a result, the taillight was minimally cracked, but it wasn't completely shattered or damaged or broken. And that's the condition of the SUV when Michael Proctor got a hold of it. That becomes important. You'll hear from an independent police officer, an eyewitness to the damage on that SUV, someone not connected to Michael Proctor or under his control. And he'll tell you that he saw the taillight damaged before it was in Michael Proctor's possession, but it was not completely shattered.
Oh, Nicholas Barros.
And you don't have to
Nicholas
speculate
Barros.
how that taillight got cracked originally. You'll see it for yourself.
That means they're calling Barros.
It's on video. You'll learn that part of the reason that Karen's Lexus hit that car at One Meadows is because she backed out looking for him at a time when she was absolutely panic-stricken and grief-stricken. Where was John? Why hadn't he come home? What had happened to him? Is he hurt? Is he passed out somewhere? Her mind was reeling. The evidence will establish she wasn't giving anything away. Everything was on the table. What could have happened to John? You'll learn that when she woke up and he still wasn't home, she was just racking her brain for what could have happened to him. She was worried about possibly the worst. He had gotten out of the car. He'd walked to the house. She was confused. And later, when she found him at 6 a.m. on the lawn, where she last saw him going toward the house, her mind started reeling, oh my God, did a plow hit him? Did I hit him? Could I have hit him? What could have happened to him? And that video clip that you saw, out of context, when she said the words, he did not look like he was mortally wounded, she's not talking about at midnight. She's talking about at 6 a.m. when she found him. That's what she was talking about. Your job will be to make sure that the evidence isn't presented to you too cute by half. She was saying all those things. Did a plow hit him? Could I have hit him? Did I hit him? She was saying that to herself and to other people. And the Commonwealth, very obviously, will try to seize on that panic and twist this into some admission. But here's the actual truth.
Oh, I'm glad you like this shirt.
Did I hit him? Could a plow have hit him? That's a person trying to make sense of an unexplainable circumstance, a natural concern of a bereaved significant other, a woman desperately trying to piece together what could have happened on this tragic night. John didn't come home. And the evidence will show that Karen Reed never said, I hit him. Never. Not in the background of the 911 recording, not on any dash cam video, not on any audio, not on any police body cam, not to a first responder. It's never mentioned in a single report. It's never reported in a single report from January 29th, not by one person, because it never happened. The evidence will show that the evidence will show that there were at least 13 members of law enforcement or first responders and 2 civilian witnesses that were intently focused on what was happening at that scene. They were all over the lawn. They were all over Karen. Officer Sharaf, Mullaney, Good, Lank, EMT Nuttall, Flamati, Kelly, Walsh, Woodbury, Whitley, Becker, Roby, McLaughlin, Kerry Roberts, Jennifer McCabe. They were all there, watching and listening. On January 29th, when John O'Keefe was found, not one first responder reported having heard Karen Reed say the words, I hit him. Not one. Not one civilian reported having heard Karen Reed say, I hit him.
Not one.
The facts will show that the first time this improved statement was ever claimed to have been made was some 24 hours later by a single EMT in an interview. Now listen to this. In an interview coordinated by a Canton police detective named Kevin Albert.
I love that. I love that. Kevin Albert. Oh, that was awesome. He does it again with Caitlin too.
Brian Albert's brother. And remember, Chris Albert, the other brother, is a board selectman to whom the Canton Police Department reports. And what's more, you'll learn that Katie McLaughlin, that's the EMT, that's the single EMT, the first person to have claimed to have heard this unrecorded and unreported statement, is years-long, close personal friends with a young woman named Caitlin Albert.
One more time.
Is years-long, close personal friends with a young woman named Caitlin.
1, 2, 3,
Albert.
4. Okay.
You heard that right.
You heard that right. Yes. I love it.
Brian Albert's daughter. During the course of this trial, you'll become familiar with and you'll realize that the Alberts are indeed a powerful and indeed an influential family. And that will mean something. You'll learn that there are other major problems with the prosecution's case. The evidence will establish that Michael Proctor himself, the lead investigator and architect of this entire case, has a long-standing and personal relationship with the Albert family. Yes, that same Albert family. His sister was close friends with Julie Albert. He personally sat at head tables at weddings, or at a head table at weddings with the Albert family. He entrusted the Alberts with babysitting his own children. You heard that correctly. And yet he was the lead detective assigned to investigate the circumstances of a Boston police officer laying dead on the Alberts' front lawn. That's not just bias, you'll learn. That's not just coincidence. That, folks, is corruption. And you'll see how far it went.
Sounds like it.
Michael Proctor was alone with all the critical evidence in this case, alone with Karen Reed's phone, alone with John's phone, alone with video footage, alone with the taillight material, alone when he claimed to recover evidence from 34 Fairview. He wrote the search warrants. He transported the evidence. He secured it. He submitted it. He did it all. That's Michael Proctor. And he did it without any reasonable oversight. You'll see during the trial that he intentionally lied and fabricated evidence during the course of this investigation. He lied in reports, warrants. He lied under oath. He lied about the time that he actually secured Karen Reed's vehicle.
And I'm with you on that one, Richie. It's just like, I personally am convinced Colin was 1000%. I think he delivered the blow to the back of the head. I think it was an accident. I think Colin's fault is it. I think this whole thing is Operation Protect Colin. I would bet my life on that. I am so fucking certain that Colin was involved in this. However, the goal here, if you're her attorneys, is to acquit her. And the easier sell here to do that is to just show that there's plenty of reasonable doubt here that he was not hit by a car. And there's plenty of reasonable doubt here because the investigator was Michael Proctor and he didn't do a proper investigation because the Alberts were not only friends of his, but cops. And he literally put it in writing. He's not going to catch any shit because he's a Boston cop, period.
Why? Why would he lie about that? The evidence will give you the answer. He lied because he did not want it revealed that he had access to that vehicle and he had access to that taillight before any taillight fragments were found at 34 Fairview. Appreciate that. He had access to the vehicle before a single piece of taillight material was ever found at the scene. You'll find that there were 2 searches. The first and second search found 0, nothing. Nothing around John's body, nothing in the street, not one piece of taillight fragment. But once Michael Proctor had that SUV and had the taillight in his custody and control, suddenly items started magically showing up, and not just a few items, 46 pieces of bright red taillight laying in the snow, supposedly found in the exact same spot that was searched not once, but twice by independent officers. Came up with 0. To be clear, you'll learn that before Michael Proctor had access to that taillight, not a single piece was ever recovered at 34 Fairview. That will become vitally, vitally important. And what about those shards of plastic, by the way? What about this DNA that the Commonwealth mentioned? They're going to try to dazzle you with talk of DNA because it sounds so scientific. DNA was on the taillight, but you'll learn that there was no DNA on the actual shards that they claim came in contact with John's arm.
Oh, none.
There was no blood, no tissue, no.
I didn't even know that. There was no DNA on the actual shards of taillight. I know they said it was on the housing, the inside of the taillight, but none on the actual shards. I did not know that. Did you guys not know? I didn't even know that. I forgot a lot of shit that happened. There's a lot. I kind of zoned out during the DNA talk during the trial. I'm not going to lie. That's interesting. But I know there was no blood on them. Like, if a taillight acts as a knife by cutting you up, the taillight should have blood on it. A bloody knife, if you stab someone or cut someone with a fucking knife, it's going to have blood on it, right? Well, the taillight was acting as a knife. It should be covered in blood.
No skin, no DNA on a single shard of plastic that they claim cut deep abrasions into John's arm, the arm that you saw overhead. The DNA that was actually found, the actual science will show, was found outside of the taillight housing where anyone with access to that vehicle would have touched. And it wasn't just one male's DNA. In that exact same sample, there were 3 men found.
Oh.
John and 2 unidentified males. So unless the Commonwealth is going to shift.
There was 3 men involved, John and 2 unidentified males. So it's like a weekend with Jill Daniels. It's like, what the fuck? Oh my God.
Their theory.
Oh my God.
That SUV hit 3 men that night. Their entire theory falls apart. And speaking of DNA, the evidence will further establish that John O'Keefe's shoe, the one that he was wearing when he was found, was sampled. And that DNA revealed 5, count them, 5 unidentified males. Recall that the evidence will establish independently that John was injured someplace
5 guys
and had to be moved
oh God
onto that lawn. 5 unidentified males touching that shoe. You'll also learn that you are not the first person, not the first to hear about the Commonwealth's theory of this case, that John was hit by an SUV. That's their theory. The Commonwealth presented this exact same claim to their own medical examiner, a woman by the name of Dr. Irini Scorti-Bello. And you'll learn that after reviewing what's called a law enforcement accident notifier, with law enforcement's theory of the collision written in it, defined in it, after conducting the autopsy herself, after examining John's injuries in detail, she refused to conclude that John's death was a homicide based on the Commonwealth's presentation of their theory.
That's why they're not calling her.
The Commonwealth's own medical examiner will not deem the manner of death in this case, a homicide. She won't do it. But they're nonetheless back again trying to present the exact same theory to you in this trial. Again, the evidence will show that that is reasonable doubt. Throughout this trial, the Commonwealth will try to convince you of paranormal events, phones calling themselves, messages deleting themselves, Google searches made and then unmade, evidence magically appearing and evidence magically disappearing. But all that smoke and all those mirrors will not ever reach their burden. Because that's what this case is ultimately about. It's about the Commonwealth's burden of proof. You'll learn that during the trial, the Commonwealth bears the highest burden known to our justice system. They must prove every element of every charge beyond a reasonable doubt and to a moral certainty.
Beyond a reasonable doubt,
that moral certainty means the highest level of certainty known in human affairs.
Wow.
It's not a small thing. They're not going to be able to do that. Not when every piece of this case was handled by...
I don't remember them saying this at the last trial, just explaining the high bar of beyond a reasonable doubt, how high that is. They didn't think they'd have to. They thought people would have common sense, but Ryan Piotrowski is on there and he's a fucking moron. So here we are.
By a disgraced investigator with a motive to protect his friends, not when the physical evidence contradicts their very theory, not when their own medical examiner won't call this case a homicide based on the exact theory that they're presenting to you, not when the conduct of those in the house and the utter lack of investigation speaks volumes about those who actually have something to hide. By the end of this trial, you'll conclude that Karen Reed is not guilty of hitting John O'Keefe with her SUV. There was no collision.
There was no
She was the victim of a
collision.
botched, biased, and corrupted investigation that was never about the truth, folks. It was about preserving loyalty. You'll find that this case is the very definition of reasonable doubt.
Reasonable doubt.
And at the end of this trial, we'll ask you to return the only verdicts, all three of them, that are consistent with the evidence, the science, the truth.
Do you like that little addition there? All three of them. All three of them. Don't forget, there's three of those motherfuckers.
And justice. Not guilty. Not guilty.
3 times.
Not guilty.
Not guilty, not guilty, not guilty.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson.
Fucking
Folks, why don't we take our morning recess?
masterful, bro. Absolutely fucking masterful. That was, wasn't it? A work of art. That's what that was. So that was phenomenal. So look at, here's the deal. The Nuttall stuff. I want to do a whole thing on that. I'm going to need more time. I'm going to run out of time tonight because I'm getting tired. In case you can't tell, I got to wake up early tomorrow and drive out there and do the same shit. I'm going to be fucking struggling for sleep, but whatever. No sleep till fucking not guilty. That's what we say. No sleep till. All right. Anyway, so why don't we read some turtle chats to end the night here? And also some, because we got like 10 weeks of this shit, dude. 10 fucking weeks. And you know, this is why I have to go live every night now. And God knows what I'm going to have tomorrow night with Kerry Roberts. Let's go. No sleep to, yeah. Fucking love the Beastie Boys. Greatest band ever, by the way. Greatest band ever. Okay. Anyway, let's read some turtle chats. Okay. Okay. All right. Jen and Jess Kelly send $10 and goes, shout out to Karen for Zacco and sending love to her and her family who recently lost their family dog, Rocky. We love you so much, the Cali twins. God bless you. God bless Rocky. Free Bow sends $5 and goes, is Lally's smoker's cough distracting? Was he smoking today? I didn't even pick up on that if he was. I mean, was he coughing in court today? Was he coughing? Maybe he was. I don't know. Anyway, back to this. Eileen sends $10, goes, I'm hearing Rafferty announced her retirement. You're hearing correctly. Jenna sends $25 and goes, late to the live. So not sure if anyone said this, if everyone was concerned with Karen saying, I hit him because they wanted to know about his injuries. Why not ask hit him how? Hit him with what? They said in opening, obviously they didn't align with a car. Yeah, I mean, obviously she didn't say it. That's a great point. And, you know, he got fucking destroyed. I wish I had more time to talk about this, but he got fucking annihilated today. Oh, and I don't even think he's a bad guy. I don't think he's in on any conspiracy. I'm not going that far. He's just a know-it-all that it has to be right all the time. He has one of those personalities, you know? Anyway, back to this. Courtney sends $25 and says, I'm kind of tired of the arc of shit with Brennan and Bev. What the fuck does he think they are keeping from him? And how is she continuing to use this as a way to punish the defense with violations? I'm sick of it too. Robert Alessi seemed like pissed and frustrated and taking it personally today. I think they've had enough. I don't know. I don't even know what any of this shit means when they're talking about, like, is there something the defense could have done differently? I don't know. I don't know how any of this works. I don't know if it's a big deal or if it's not. But anyway, back to this. Lena B sends $10 and goes, did you notice Brennan asked Nuttall what Hank told him during prep about telling the truth? He didn't say what Tully told him. I really wanted Jackson to ask what Tully told him in that meeting. You and I both. I would have loved to hear that. The fact that this guy met with Tully. Why is Tully meeting with him? Why? Why is Tully meeting with this guy right before the trial? Why? Why? Fucking hate Tully. Mary sends $10 and goes, Bow, the MSP certainly haven't learned a lesson. That guy did nothing wrong. That dude should be fired. Agreed. MK sends $10, goes, Hank has empathy for the EMT worker, but not for Karen. Fuck Kerry for calling Karen crazy. Free Karen Reed. Yeah, she'd go fuck herself. Brother Turtle JJ sends $5, goes, I want each of the I hit him witnesses to describe how she said this. What did she sound like? Calm, frenzied, whispered. Let each describe it. Amen. Brian sends $5 and goes, I'm confused as to why Victoria George, being a lawyer herself, wouldn't just tell the retarded jury foreman that they were allowed to acquit on 2 charges to be hung on 1. I'll tell you why, because she wasn't in the deliberation room. She had no contact with them. She said to sit outside the room and twiddle her thumbs. So that was that. You would think, being the only lawyer there, they would take her word over the dumbass foreman. Exactly. So I hope that answers your question. Biggle BA sends $10, goes, why did Karen keep calling John a pervert? I've never understood that choice of insult. Because she thought he was getting his nut off into Ashley Brady. That's what he thought. There you go. And you got to be perverted to want to fuck a hoe like Ashley Brady. So there's that. Angie sends $25, goes, 4 words. Make it make sense. Thanks for all you do to keep us in the know. My pleasure, Angie. Fancy Fact Find sends $10, goes, Helena just announced her retirement on June 30th. She's getting out of Dodge before she's charged with obstruction of justice. Not sure that's why she's retiring, but thank you. Going through the emotions, Ryan sends $10, goes, do we know what Paul said to Karen today? Now, he was just mouthing something to her. I couldn't pick up on it, but he definitely said something to her. He's such a piece of shit. Gray sends $5, says, I've been looking at the tech stream data a lot, so Hank's comment about the car being in neutral stuck out to me. The car was in neutral for 1 data point, which is under half a second. Not that compelling, Hank. Exactly. Laura sends $10, goes, Paul is definitely not wearing blue today. No, he was actually messaging the online girlfriend again. He from a burner account. It's definitely him though. So thank you for that. Anonymous Canton Mom sends $5 and goes, you can eat the buffer zone chicken dip. Much better than it looks, not laced with anything. And I don't have cats from oven to car. P.S. Hank's going to prove Karen is not guilty. I know. And thank you, Anonymous Canton Mom. I ate that for dinner tonight because buffalo chicken dip is a meal of food. I don't know if people need to hear that. It's not just an appetizer. It's like calamari. You can call it an appetizer if you want. You can also call it a meal of food. And I had calamari for dinner. Was it last night or 2 nights ago? I just was hungry. It was Easter and I was hungry as shit. And I was really wanted food. And so there's only one place in Holden that's open past like 8 o'clock. It's Quinn's Blue Plate. So I went down there and they don't like, you try to get takeout there. They don't answer the phone. So you got to go in there. And I'm like, well, I'm not going to order. I'm going to sit down and eat it. And let me tell you, I had the calamari there. They have this chili pepper calamari just soaked in shit. It's fucking unbelievable. And it is a meal of food. It's so good. And so appetizers count as meals of food if you like them. And that's what buffalo chicken dip is what I had for dinner tonight. And I will probably be having that for the next couple nights. So thank you, Anonymous Canton Mom. Appreciate that. Anyway, next up, Emily sends $10, goes, Brennan's explanation for the sudden change in temperature on John's phone getting cold was them moving his body off it to do CPR. But how does that make sense if, according to him, the ground was so frozen solid? I know. It's just like suddenly they move his body and he just got 1,000,000 degrees cold. Then why was it dropping before? So it was dropping dropping fast over that first hour, right? Shouldn't it have not dropped at all? if your theory is the body kept it warm, like what the fuck kind of theory is this? All right, next up. Laura sends $10, goes, Dr. Turtleboy, I just want to thank you. You did this. Yes, Karen has a great team, but you are the reason we are all here and supporting her. I can't wait until you are both truly free. P.S. Could you please say hi to Mom Barbara in Seattle? Thanks again. Hey, Babs, they call you in Seattle. Appreciate you tuning in. And I appreciate the kind words from Laura. I'm glad to be the reason that you are here right now. But we're not done yet. We're not done yet. We got a trial to get through. I haven't done anything yet. You know, we need to get a not guilty verdict. That's what we need. And it's going to be dope when that happens. Next up. Jen sends $10, goes, hot take. I don't mind no mention of ARCA. Under promise, over deliver. Complete opposite of Spanky's opening. Right. I mean, he did all that without ever mentioning ARCA. So there's that. Next up, Rosaline sends $10, goes, Dr. Turtleboy, good to see you in your usual seat at trial today. I was secretly hoping Hank would begin his opening with the Commonwealth was framed. He basically said that. He said that Karen Reed was involved in a cover-up today. He actually said that. Because we know the Commonwealth deserves a fair trial, LOL. Regarding your case, doesn't all the delays infringe on your right to a speedy trial? Thanks, free Karen Reed. Nah, I mean, it's pretty standard. Some of these take a while. It's been less than 2 years, so thank you. Erin O'Keefe, nice, sends $8 and goes, you should stuff a sock in your pants tomorrow so Paul doesn't wonder why I'm staring. Well, I wouldn't have to stuff a sock. No offense. I wouldn't have to do that. So I appreciate that, Erin, and you can stare. It's fine. I won't hold it against you. Okay, let me read some turtle chats here. All right, JJ sends $5 and goes, wow, pointed no DNA on shards last stream. Thank you, JJ. Testing Vanity sends $5 and goes, please tell Erin, girl, it's okay to be single. Right, exactly. Like, it's no stigma. It's hard, though. I know you own a house together, and I get it. I've been there before, so I feel you. Jeannie sends $25 and goes, John was in the bulkhead until the coast was clear. Okay, thank you, Jeannie. Bill sends $10 and goes, Jim will freeze reactive jurors ping pong ball. Probably. Holly sends $5 and goes, all McAlberts are trash, especially Toothless Jen. I'm with you on that, Holly. Lisa sends $10, goes, thanks for the rapid fire X updates today. My pleasure. And there'll be more to come tomorrow. Ashley sends $5, goes, hi, Skeeter, free Karen Reed. I think that's, I don't think I've read that one yet. And got another one here from Sylvia, sends $40 and says, keep it up. I'll do just that, Sylvia. I appreciate that very much. That's what she said. All right. Any more turtle chats? No, we're good. Okay, cool. All right, guys. Well, I'm getting fucking tired. I'm not going to lie. I'm exhausted. But we will, I get it back at it tomorrow. It was a great first day. I'm excited to see what tomorrow brings. And we're going to be spending a lot of time with each other over the next, 10 weeks. So get some rest, brush those teeth, and, take care of yourselves. Mental health, go out, get some exercise too while you're at it. In between that break there, maybe go on a treadmill a little bit, do some push-ups. I don't know, some sit-ups. But anyway, thank you guys for all the donos tonight and the turtle chats and all that stuff. And we will see you guys all tomorrow night. Same turtle time, same turtle place, and peace to your bum crease.
It calls for data including calendars, alerts, reminders, notes, text messages, pictures, or videos from April 1st, 2023 through and including October 5th, 2023. 7 months